Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 256. Welcome to the Saturday live edition for USA. And I'll be with you in a minute after the intro. While I just do a few pre-checks. Hopefully it's all working. Who's out there? Robert, Susan? What's going on with that thing? Jitsi. So we haven't tested out Jitsi since the new upgrades, so it'll be interesting. Got OpenLines today. OpenLines, UFO chat, UFO video analysis. Going down, almost ready. Running a wee bit behind, not too bad though. Hello. Hello. Get to be back. Get to be back. I should do the funny voice. Have Susan cracking up. Just be civil on the side. No swearing, or hardcore swearing at least. The mods don't like it, some of them. Misspell the swear words if you have to. And yeah, just be civil and have fun. If anyone out there wants to talk about the UFO story, we'll make available to people to phone in or use the app, which is very simple to use, especially if you've got a Chrome browser, or one of the latest browsers anyway. It works on pretty much everything. So who's out there? We've started with 7 and now it's dropped down to 3, so it doesn't make any sense. I don't know, maybe Google's got 3 robots or something. Okay, we got Robert. Robert, you need to jump on Free For All just to check it out. Dell, how's it going? So, yeah, we've got a few more things running at the moment. So I need to put OpenLines up number where you can phone in on your regular phone. I believe it's free, especially if you're in USA. But yeah, not too sure about other countries. Has it come up? Oh yeah, it's at the top of the screen now. If it gets in the way of what I'm doing, just say you want it removed from the top while you're watching. Generally it's not a problem. So we need someone to test out the voice, because we haven't tested it since the update, so hopefully someone wants to come on and try it out. Can't do it by myself, obviously, unless I clone myself. Not the cousin bros. Well, that would be interesting though. If I had a twin. Yeah, so I need the number up for Free For All. So, yeah, if you've got a Chrome browser, at least make sure you give permission to the mic. If you don't want to be seen on camera, you can turn off the camera, but I'd say always have a bit of blue tack over the camera lens. Just be careful not to block the mic. It's little holes either side of the lens, because it could get in there and block off the mic. Bit of tape's probably a bit better. Black tape. Alex Jones. That's one thing he was correct about. But if you talk about now conspiracies enough, eventually going to be right about a few of them, about population reduction or whatever. So yeah, that should be the number up on the screen here. So all you need to do is click on that link in your browser that I've posted into the side chat, and you'll be instantly connected with me. So I'm down at the bottom of the world here. Not quite Antarctica, but getting close. Although it's nice and warm here, so we're closer to Australia than Antarctica. North Island's a lot warmer, of course. And if you want to download an app for your tablets, you got Android and you got Macintosh options there. But yeah, the top link, if you click that in Windows on most of the modern browsers and say allow access to mic, you'll be in. And it doesn't cost a thing because it's voice over internet. Uses your data on the internet. Okay. So, who's out there on the side? One Life Man. Google Antarctica. Why do I want to do that? I've talked about Antarctica a lot, actually. Robert and Paul, Susan, Dale, hope you're all good. Yeah, I'm feeling good today. Probably didn't get much sleep, but what else is new?
Yeah,
we go. So, who's jumping on? Not muted.
Google Antarctica.
Make sure you mute your YouTube. It's about 30 seconds behind.
Who's there? Susan, Bill, all good. Yeah, I'm feeling good today.
Who we got?
Robert. Didn't get much sleep. What else is
Robert.
Hello.
Yeah, you can't have the YouTube playing at the same time, mate.
Oops.
Who's jumping on? Make sure you mute your YouTube. It's about...
Oopsie, my bad.
Yeah, when you connect to me on Jitsi, you're actually live with me, give or take a few seconds, because of the transmission speeds of the internet. You'll see that YouTube will be 30 seconds behind. You'll probably find... Well, it seems to be working alright still there, Robert. Platform, I need to get the right setting rather than double. Need to get you single. I thought maybe we had a caller straight off. You never know if troll tries to... Yeah, don't troll me, whatever you do, people, because we can kick you off. I know some people jump on there and try to sabotage people's live streams. But yeah, we can deal with it. So, yeah, how you feeling, Robert?
Oh, it's been a kind of hectic week, to be honest. I don't know if this stupid virus is causing all kinds of fallout to people, you know. And everyone's become a COVID expert now on Facebook.
Oh no, banned word.
Oh
no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It always gets banned. I always get banned, and then I have to ask for a review.
No medical background whatsoever, but yeah, they're experts. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Remember, when this is all over, after you've blocked like 50 of your mates, you know, I don't know who's going to come to your rescue then, and how you're going to make things up.
Well, at the moment, there's 1 in 10 people that you know is going to die from it. So, if that's pretty serious, you know. So,
I know
some
two
people
that have
obviously
been in hospital.
Right, but they haven't died though, have they?
No, they haven't died. No.
Yeah.
They were both young though. There's a bit scary that it put them in hospital in the first place, you know.
Mm. We got Lucky from Ireland in the side chat. How's it going?
Okay.
Where's everybody from? Mostly UK, is it? This is UK almost friendly time before midnight, and the USA afternoon to evening time slots. What's the time range here? What's it? Not update. Oh, right, it's a bit slow, isn't it? So it's 4 p.m. Texas, New York, 6 p.m. That's probably dinner time, is it, over there? 3 p.m. California. I did invite Earl Grey along, and I said that you're doing an OpenLines tomorrow with your show, aren't you?
Well, I've got a couple of cases to cover as well.
Right. But you talk about round table.
So if nobody actually gets in touch with, we've got something to work with, you know.
Right.
So all's good.
Okay. So you're using your headset off today?
Well, yeah, because I'm going to be a little bit up and down, to be honest. So I don't.
Yeah, I can notice a wee bit of an echo, but it's not too bad. I'm not sure how everybody else is hearing you. So it's not too bad. We have sort of got round that echo, as long as you don't play YouTube. Is Susan out there? Have you seen Susan at all?
Susan? Yeah, Susan's out there.
I don't think I saw her in the side chat.
Yeah, I did. I'm sure I did.
I just want to make a special mention to Susan.
Hello,
yeah. Just want to say thank you for Susan, especially, and Charles for donating by Super Chat to the channel, because it helped out with renewal of a license that come up for Flight Radar 24. Although we hardly ever use it in the year, sometimes we need to look up some cases that went past the 7 days free trial date range for playback. So yeah, all that sort of helps keep the channel funded, because I can't do it by myself, because I only get like $20 pocket money every week, because I'm off the government system here with sickness benefit. But like I said, like UK, you can't even leave the city once you're on the government system, because they chop your money off. So people said, "Oh, can you travel overseas?" No. Once upon a time, I was earning lots of good money and could have done that sort of thing. But yeah, that's way before I got into UFOs. Even though it was like a side subject, I was never thinking about producing videos, let alone dive right into the deep end of UFO stuff. Because someone like me had to come along and set up a channel to use some skills to analyze stuff and help out with all the BS out there. But there's been a lot of good developments that's sort of shown up recently with Tim, was it? What's his name? The reporter. With on a show yesterday with Mick West. So we might play a wee bit of that today.
Yeah, Macmillan, yeah. That was a very interesting interview. With Mick West, the arch enemy debunker of mine. Yeah, for sure. But Mick just seems to be kind of grasping at straws more and more these days than he ever has been.
Yeah, he was trying to debunk him as he was. He was trying to debunk him as he was going along, and it was sort of interrupting the flow of it. You know, he was saying, "Oh, they got a 3D map of these things above the ships," and he's saying, "Oh, they're not actually got a 3D model of the craft. They're just say it's 3D radar, blah blah." Everybody knew what he was talking about. You know, radar's not that fine where it can actually scan it like a 3D model and actually put it on the screen. But you never know what the Navy's working on, where they can do that sort of stuff, right? So they can identify the plane if it hasn't got a call sign. You never know.
The only thing I can suggest, Paul, is that we've either made a massive leap in technology, in physics, or it's alien. And considering that these type of events have been happening from the 40s and 50s, then I tend personally to lean a little bit towards the alien, but I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, honest,
I got the feeling that we'll play a bit of the interview in a minute, so people can have a listen. Then we can talk about it if you want. But
if they are hiding it,
yep,
is there
we
a
got
delay?
a few seconds. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so if they are hiding this technology, it's criminal. To be honest, because so either way, if it's alien or our tech, it's still quite compulsive viewing, isn't it?
Yeah, but he did make a point there that he said that anyone that he's talked to said this is amazing technology, but still they weren't willing to say whether it was aliens or some advanced technology they haven't been told about by military. So they haven't committed themselves still, which is the whole problem of disclosure. Until the government comes out and says, yeah, these machines are definitely not human-made, we're still going to be stuck in this loop of debating or debunking it, So I'll just play a bit of clip of the interview now for those people to have a look at. Mick West, here it is here. I think it's queued up. Let's see if the volume's all right. I'll just play the bit where he's talking about the pilot witness, which hasn't been heard about before. We need to get this guy on our show sometime and actually do a proper interview with him.
That would be fantastic. And you're talking about the female pilots, aren't you?
Yeah, this is the best part in the whole interview. I'll just use it for fair play so we can actually criticize it or add to it. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully it's in the right spot. Yep. Hopefully it's loud enough. Come on, Google. Always has trouble when you stream and lots of data back and forth.
That really set her off.
Yeah, it's glitching in it.
It was actually when they first observed the object hovering above the ocean. And so this is the part that I don't think Fravor, I believe, has said, it was like a ping pong ball bouncing around. What she told me was a little more dramatic, and that's what unnerved her, was that this thing is exactly what I think we kind of briefly talked about it was moving in instantaneous acute angles, obtuse angles, inconsistent with how we define flight. And so this thing was moving, I like to say, a bucket of minnows. That's not, and she didn't see any control surfaces. So the moment you saw that, she realized, one point that I've tried to make to people a lot is that it is erroneous to call these UFOs as unidentified flying objects. These true, really bizarre cases, ladies and gentlemen, they're not flying by how we define flight. They're not engaged in lift and thrust. They lack the control surfaces. They lack the angle of attack. They lack the airfoil. And they are not performing consistent with what objects that have consistent mass do. They're not influenced by that. So that was the initial thing that really struck her and unnerved her. Because I think in her interview, she says, when Commander Favor's like, I'm going to chase it, she's like, have at it, dude, because this thing is not moving like that. So that was something that was very intriguing there. Later on, and these are all independent, later on when I spoke to Gary Voorhees, which I think he spoke to you, and he may have mentioned that going up to like the smoke deck, where this was kind of this fun habit they would do. See them on radar, learn the bearing and the heading, run up to the big eyes binoculars, and they would see these things doing exactly what she described, in which is instantaneous movement that doesn't seem to be affected by objects with constant mass. They're not influenced by this. When I spoke to the Naval Air Weapons Systems, electronic weapons systems operator, he described the same thing. And I just want to make sure that all of these interviews were on different independent months apart. Some of them haven't wanted to come forward. So you do have to kind of weigh this thing. Where are they playing off of each other? But in this case, they all kept describing the same thing. It is something that's moving rapidly in acute angles that is inconsistent with how we define flight. Chad Underwood, which unfortunately, and I mentioned to you this off camera, I want to make sure I didn't think that I had this from you, because had he been able to get me a statement in time, I would have given it to you and we could have discussed it here. Unfortunately, I think Chad just life and everything, he was unable to, but he may still provide a specific statement. But you pointed this out in our private discussions, that he described in his one known interview. You may have it in front of you. The what we don't see in these little brief clips was this bizarre, erratic, instantaneous, weird movements and angles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this strange pattern emerged.
He wants to debunk
where
that.
You're not describing something
like
engaged in flight.
Oh, hang on.
And that
I'll just pause it. Yeah, what did you say, Robert?
Mick looks uncomfortable with what's in his song.
Yeah, because he's talking about how it was changing angle. Remember the gimbal one was changing angle, and he's saying it's the camera moving, not the actual machine.
But don't forget, at the end of the day, like Mick West is a guy that was, as a child, he was kind of afraid of monsters and his bed and what have you. And ever since then, he's felt the need to explain everything away as something mundane, rather than exotic. Now, that's not me making an opinion on Mick. That's Mick's own words. You can actually find that on his website. Statement about that, you see.
Yeah.
So
can you angle your camera down a wee bit, Robert? Because we're only seeing the top of your head at the moment.
Oh, bugger. Hold on. Let me have a look.
Yeah, it's just the way I've got the screens here, so we lose part of you. Yeah. There you go, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bang on. Good
It
one.
looks an unusual angle, but nevertheless, if it works on your end, that's fine. Yeah, so, do you know, I think a lot of these debunkers like Michael Shermer, Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Seth Shostak, I think they're all in for a big shock.
Yeah.
Coming the next 10 years, I wouldn't like to be in that position at this point in time. That's all I would say. Yeah,
wouldn't it be bad to be killed off by C-19 before you hear about the truth? You waited all your life to hear about it, and then something kills you before you actually get to hear about it.
They've been so harshly critical of UFO people down the years, and now suddenly this stuff is slowly leaking out, and they're desperately trying to hold on to their position as debunkers. They can't exactly turn down and say now, well, I may be wrong.
But you said the right thing there. You said either someone's got really high technology that could benefit whole mankind and they're hiding it, or it's aliens. It can only be one or the two. Either way, someone has a lot to answer for. And you can't say it's national security all the time as a cop-out. I don't think so. Yeah. So if you got that sort of technology, why aren't we using it for transport? Even though you could slowly increase the acceleration so it doesn't kill people inside and then slow down, you still could reduce a lot of consumption of fuel that's adding to the climate changes they seem to be panicking about. So yeah, it's lots and lots to answer for.
Adal has just made a comment there. He said, I sound like I'm talking in a tunnel. So I'll take his word for that. So I'll have to plug the earphones in.
Oh, it's not too bad in my headset here, as far as I can tell.
Nobody else commented, so I don't really know.
Yeah, there is a bit of a more of a cut-off on the laptop mic there to your personal headset one. If I'm talking and you talk, it sort of fades in. But then again, it could be jitsi as well. So sometimes it's best to drop out and drop back in, and it fixes that sort of problem as well.
Yeah, I'll do now. 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're not too bad. I think he was all right generally. Now we'll carry on playing a wee bit more of this. I think we got the best part of it there about the pilot talking about how it was moving, acute angles, which means left and right and up and down rather than banking and all that sort of stuff. But you can see Mick West has a bit of a squirming about that, and he doesn't sort of agree. What we're seeing is on the videos is what the pilots saw. Pilots probably saw a lot more than what was recorded. But we also heard from Black Vault recently saying that the 3 videos have been released from the government or approved by the government, saying they are unknown craft, and there was no extra footage before or after. So I'll just carry on playing a wee bit more of this while Robert gets set up,
because it's not being bound, and you mentioned that, and I think that's very, very important. You said, but everything's bound by the laws of physics. I agree. And so what are we talking about here? Obviously, there are a lot of things that aren't aliens, holograms, and you would probably know this better than me, but I believe that there's a potential you could somehow use a hologram to do something like this.
Not really.
On radar.
Not really. Okay. I don't think conventional physics would allow for a hologram in broad daylight, which would actually do that, because you can't.
See, I've debunked Mick on this before, because I've actually seen this done at university way back in my time in 1993. Early free floating holograms in broad daylight, although it was in a room. So yeah, even back then they weren't using lasers as such; they were using electron beams. But someone said they saw a freestanding hologram on runways at military bases where they're experimenting with holograms back in the 70s, and from far away it looked very realistic, like a plane parked on the tarmac or a tank or whatever. But so what do they got nowadays? We're seeing. I've done various episodes where I was showing you where they got free floating things like R2D2 was projecting, which is in room light. It's not darkness as such. So yeah, I said what they could have a craft that emits a hologram around it. So that means you still get radar hits off it. So they're going to talk about, no, it can't be a hologram because you won't see it in the daytime, blah, 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 and you won't get radar hits. So it depends how out the box a thinker you are. This guy's so locked into science and what... he hasn't even got a university degree, this guy. He's never been to university. He's not taught to a lot of eggheads like I have. He would do a lot of advantage to himself to go and get a PhD at a university and prove himself. And he actually might interface with people that where he's not actually seeing the ideas out there that some of the stuff people are working on. It's just amazing what some of the people... See, that's another thing at university. They have all these special guests come in and give lectures on what research they're working on. And you can just go along in your lunchtime and just sit in and listen to all these amazing things that people are working on. I used to go along to advanced music stuff where they're using computer AI to actually develop music and all that sort of stuff. And I was looking at holographic research and laser technology. They had all this going around at university, and people, PhDs, were doing it for their thesis. And that was back in the 90s. So what they doing nowadays? So yeah, just play a wee bit more of this.
Project darkness and opacity. You can project light essentially. So it's
sure
seems unlikely that well, certainly an actual. Some people say that it might be a hologram around something, but even that doesn't make much sense from a conventional physics point of view. But of course, in many people's minds, conventional physics is out the water, so, out of the ballpark.
And I say that I brought up
some people being me, of course, probably
the hologram because I'm just trying to think in my.
Sorry, Robert. Yeah, I have to pause it so we can hear you.
Sure, I think, of course. Does it sound any better now, guys.
Yes, less echoey. Yes.
headset.
But just did you drop it in and out just to make sure it's connected properly?
Done that. I've already done it.
Righto.
Okay.
I didn't see. I was too busy. Yep. Carry on.
You see, there's a problem here with this argument that Mick was talking to people far more in the know. Sorry, Tim has spoken to people far more in the know than Mick has. And you can see that he's actually struggling with this, and he's struggling with it all the way through this interview, which is like an hour and 1 hour 45 long, something like that, wasn't it?
Hour and 44 minutes.
Actually, 144, yeah. So, yeah. It's
a long one. It's a long podcast.
But of course, they've both said that they've had sources of information that they can't reveal, and this is just holding us all back, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it's going to blow.
You got to listen to the radar techs that knew about the technology, and you got to listen to, because they'll be on the cutting edge of things even back then, 2004. Now it's probably come a long way in another 15 years, right? So, or 16 years, I should say. But yeah, obviously Mick's read things, seen reports where it kind of suggests that it's beyond our technology, even back in 2004.
Tim is obviously leaning towards something anomalous, isn't he?
Yeah, right angles and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, he's not ruling out something that's been humanly developed, but he's leaning against it.
Or reverse engineered, of course. Never.
Of course, I'm not sure about that. I think if you gave a caveman a smartphone, you'd have a little bit of a difficulty reverse engineering that,
Unless you had an alien helper, of course. It was always that part of it. Where alien teaches some advanced physics, and some people are bright enough to understand. Yeah. I think Mick West is one of these guys that needs to have a paranormal event happen to him, which will turn his world upside down, where you can't explain it with physics, and some of these ghost hunter shows that's currently on TV, where you're hearing people walk around upstairs and then they run upstairs and it's only one room and there's no one there, and you can clearly hear it on videotape, even on the camera. Makes you wonder why he doesn't go along to these guys or these haunted places and experience it for himself. If he wants to push himself, that's what the sort of thing you do. You want to go to the extreme hotspots and paranormal where something's going to happen, which then you have to explain it with physics, like it's playing back like sound based on stored information in the wood of the house or the stone bricks of the house that only happens on certain nights where the electrostatic. You have to explain it away all the time, and then suddenly a chair is flown across the room at him or something like that, or Lego brick or something, But it's when things move and things turn off and on by themselves.
But Paul, I think the man has a bias.
Of course he does.
So he's not going to put himself in that position.
No.
Or he might be scared like he was a kid again,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we'll just carry on listening to it then. Just a wee bit more. We don't want to break his copyrights.
My mind, how you could have a visual that would be able to perform with these different maneuvers. But you're right. I spoke to defense experts, defense technology people, and they said the same thing you did. They're like, look, dude, you're not going to have a hologram that can do this, and tell me a hologram that's going to have a solid surface return. And that was another key point in the electronic systems warfare specialist that I talked to. Is he said, look, man, we tracked him on the Spy 1. We tracked him on the SPS-49. We tracked him on the SPS-48. when it came to the USS Princeton's ability to track electronic signal data. He said we couldn't get it. We couldn't get electronic signal. I know P.J. Hughes has said that the E-2 Hawkeye, which for anybody who's not aware, that's the big aircraft, air warning craft that's got the big dome on top, and so they potentially could have systems on there that would have been more advanced to maybe pick up electronic signature data. But when I spoke with him, when he said it was picked up on these three systems, he said his exact quote was, "Dude, it had skin." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he said it's solid. And so I don't know how a hologram would do that.
Meaning signals bounced off it, like the radar bounced off it or whatever they were using.
Yes,
to target it.
But they didn't pick out electronic signal data on it, at least from the Princeton side. And so that's very curious. But the Hawkeye supposedly did. And so I wholeheartedly agree, and I think there's something that you've said as well, is we are at the open source level. So you and I don't have security classification. Nobody called me in to analyze it. We are in an information vacuum. But those particular interviews, I will say, they really had an impact on me because, and it's hard to describe without, I wish I could show them on TV when I'm talking to them and how you set this up to get this information. But when you see this consistency of what I consider, I agree with you, movement that is inconsistent with our laws of physics. Does it mean it's an alien spacecraft? Absolutely not. That is a jump that it's silly to do that. Is it something really maneuvering that way? I don't know. But it would seemingly appear on multiple days based on these witness testimonies. It is something that at least appears like it is.
You keep describing it as an it, as if there's this one thing doing this thing. And from my perspective, I've always thought of them as being separate events that might have some connection, but also might not have a connection. Like if you start out with what you originally saw, it was multiple targets going south. I think there was
I know, he ruins it,
three
doesn't
at
he?
one time, going south at a little more than wind speed, if not wind speed.
Debunk it
then
after.
you have like radar targets that start at, but I think it was 80,000 feet and drop down to, or was it 28,000 feet? I can't remember exactly, but they dropped down. So they said at a rate that was basically impossible. It would have been hundreds of Gs. It would have been physically impossible for something to
1,200, I think it was.
Then you've got
Gs.
then you've got.
So he's not up with the facts here. I think it was 1,200 or 1,300 Gs, so it calculates out.
Well, it went from, what was it, 30,000 feet to 50 feet off the water in 0.8 of a second, yes?
I think it was 28,000 feet to sea level in under 1 second, which I think the guy said it was 0.74 of a second.
Okay.
But if you work it out, I think I worked it out on a live stream with using 1 second, just to say is plus or minus error there, right? And that come out to 800 Gs when I did it. So 1,200 Gs is possible if you get less than a second, of course. But 800 to 1,300 Gs. He's saying at least a couple hundred Gs. So he's not up with the facts here, old Mick. So it makes me wonder how much he's studied what people have been saying by that statement there.
Encounter, and you get the initial thing where he sees a little white dot down by the ocean with an ocean disturbance, like some kind of boiling water type thing, roiling water. And it has this ping pong thing that the wing woman described as being impossible angles, meaning kind of instantaneous changes in direction, like it was bouncing off something. And you said like minnows, I think, because fish can change direction very quickly. Yeah, because they just bim all over the place, which a plane can't do. Then you've got Fravor's next description of what happened, which was essentially him flying in a circle and the craft, from his perspective, being on the opposite side of that circle and mirroring his motion. and then when he went down, it went up, and then when he went towards it zipped past him from his perspective. Then you've got the Chad Underwood's video, which is of something that, from what we see in the video, just looks like something that's flying probably away from the plane, and it kind of gets a little bit closer, but it doesn't really move. I mean, there's arguments about whether it moves, but I think probably just the camera movement. But there's a big technical argument about that. But I think it's fairly clear that that's not moving. So you got all these different things, all these different things. You try to say that we've got one object that's doing these amazing things. I mean, could it be that even within the Fravor encounter, there could have been more than one thing? Like they were looking down, they saw something in the water or something near the water that was bouncing around.
Of course, it could be more than one thing.
Various things have been posited. Somebody even mentioned seagulls as a possibility.
Who was that, man?
I wonder who did that.
There's memes out there. I have to figure it out. Yes.
Quick, get UFO
all
Jesus
things like
on.
reflections of the canopy. For some kind of initial sighting where you're looking and you think you see something, but you're actually not seeing what you think you're seeing. Then you fly down and perhaps you see something else and you're not seeing what you think you're seeing. Like one thing I suggested for the whole encounter thing was that what Fravor was seeing when he was circling it was something that wasn't on the other side of the circle.
Seagulls.
It was actually in the middle of the circle, and because he was flying around the middle of the circle, it looked like this thing was mirroring him. And then when he flew towards it, because he thought
I think
it was
the
over
UK
there,
say
when
what
it
a
was actually
tit,
halfway towards
isn't
him,
it?
he had this perception of intense speed. But then, of course, you've got the account of his wing woman, who to some degree correlates what he saw. So I don't know what that was. But was that the same thing as these slowly drifting things from a few days earlier? Was it the same thing as the thing that popped down from one level to another? Was it the thing that instantly appeared at their cap point?
So what's the point he's trying to make there? I've often said sometimes there could be multiple events, and it may be some DARPA drones and also real UFOs mixed into the same event. You just don't know, and that's where it's causing some confusion. Maybe they even release some. Maybe they released some drones from the ships to cover up the UFOs that were happening. Always a cover story with the military, isn't there?
Well, a bit like the Phoenix Flight in 1997, for example, isn't there? When they released the flares,
That's
right. Although it was 2 hours after the original sightings, but it was something they could use. But it's weird in Fen, to be honest. Talking about UFO Jesus, if you look at the comments underneath this show, he comments on it and he says something really quite witty.
What's it going to load?
Okay.
That's if he hasn't deleted it. I can't comment on it because I've been banned from by Mick West because I questioned. His done an interview. So that's one there. So far, this is truly a epic show. So that was at 56 minutes. So I think that's probably
keep going down. No, keep
we haven't
going
got
down,
to 50. We haven't got to 56 yet. So we'll just keep on going to then see what happens.
Okay.
Let me just have a look. Oh no! Look who's here.
God. It's pop ufologist Brian Sprague.
Yeah, you don't like him. James Green. There we go.
Here we go.
I'll just zoom in. Figures this all out. I agree. He deserves a Nobel Prize. It's when he hasn't been banned. Anyway.
Well, they're supposed to be buddies, aren't they?
I don't know. There's not many comments here. At least there's more to load. More to come. How many are there? Does it say how many comments? Let me just go back up.
Normally, you get like
49
ton of people all on Nick's side, And on this occasion, it hasn't happened. I think even his most ardent supporters are losing a little bit of patience with him, It's just a feeling I get, to be honest.
Oh, look, who's the other guy here?
Oh, deep.
This is great. Yeah, why did you go on Mick's show of all things? You knew Mick was going to try and debunk him, surely. So there's only 49 comments, so surely that's... how many people watched it? There must be a few people watching it by now. 450 and only 49 bothered commenting. That's kind of weird.
He's probably deleted the most negative ones.
I haven't voted on this one, but I suppose I should give it up to even though he's blocked me. It's actually a really good show.
Yeah,
one of the best ones he's done.
Do it for Tim.
This guy, Tim, though, I wouldn't say he's the most fluent speaker, though. He's better writing than he is speaking on interview, but I suppose it's the American accent there. It sort of gets me as well a wee bit, but yeah, he sort of talks down a wee bit too much when he's talking. But yes, he's got an interesting setup there with Bluetooth headset and a big mic in front of him. So at least he spent some money on some decent gear there to make it easier for him.
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure about that part, but I will say one thing about him. He makes it really clear that he's not a journalist, but he has got that investigative background behind him.
Yeah,
you know, where he worked on murder cases, you know, and what have you. So, and he's having articles published in Vice, the War Zone. I forget what the other one is now. It's gone for me. So,
Mechanics.
Yeah, I think he's got Popular Mechanics. That's the one, Paul. Thank you.
And also, he's done some psychology degrees or something about how people perceive things. Which is kind of
interesting. That's what he was trained to do over 2 decades, yes.
Yeah, so he's not just a normal journalist, you know, that's copy and paste. He's actually actually investigating journalist. He's not a Ryan Sprague. He's actually tons better.
Do you know what, Paul? I'm glad you said that for me because I was just going to say it myself.
Yeah, I just don't listen to Ryan anymore. I've just sort of given up on him.
No, I can't listen to him.
Yeah, it's very hard, I find. That voice of his gets me every time.
I'm not bothered about his voice. That doesn't concern me at all.
I don't know. His voice gives me the shivers every time I listen to him.
Yeah.
He needs like a vocoder on him. A chipmunk.
Don't really say something I'll upset, Paul.
Anyway, we'll just carry on to what UFO Jesus said, and then we probably should look at some other stuff anyway. But yeah, this turned out to be fairly good. I noticed my CPU's hitting 100% there, so I'm not sure if any crackling's been happening. But we'll just see how it goes. Definitely having the video chat up. If anyone wants to join us on voice and have their say on this, please do so. We'd love you just to jump on there. How about Dal? Dal, jump on. Tell us what you think. Okay, who else is with us? Is Charles out there? I don't think these guys get our notifications. Google's stuffing it all up. When I tried to create this episode last night, it wouldn't allow me to select the time that it was meant to be scheduled for. So I had to create it and then go back and re-edit it. I don't know what's going on. They had it all working perfect and then someone stuffed it all up again. Oh well, just carry on.
Points, their rendezvous points later on the thing. Were these just things that because people were getting into this mindset of like, oh, there's these weird things going on, they start looking and they start seeing, oh, here's a weird thing, here's a weird thing. There's lots of weird things. It's one big weird thing.
Well, no, and that's a great point. And I definitely, and I think you're very respectful about it too. I don't want to say anybody's wrong and that everything there. I will say there's certain things there that I agree that you kind of brought up that from my end, in interviewing some of these people, I'm not going to name names, but there are certain aspects that I think are out there in the ether that I don't lump into that category of saying this is good anecdotal evidence. I consider this eyewitness testimony to be really good. One of those is the cap point return. and I know that's probably going to make a lot of people mad, but I'll just say in my speaking with people, I'm not sure how certain that is. And that it fell enough into that category where we talk about where this may be memory confounding, differing events and this type of stuff. So I don't know. It could have, but to me, I've never used that whole "it's back at your cap" point as being evidence, because I just haven't felt comfortable enough to say that.
The cap point return, just for people who don't know what that is, that's when Commander Fravor went out and he saw this, had this encounter, and then it had gone, and he was on his way back, and he got contacted by someone, a radar controller or whoever was in charge of that type of thing, saying that from his account that it had reappeared at his cap point, which I think something combat air patrol, combat amp, I don't know where it is. But it's some place where they were going. It was a point they were going to go and then hold for a while. And there he said that it had reappeared there in a way that it seemed like it was either going so fast the radar couldn't track it, or it had teleported there or something there. So you're saying you think that was an unrelated event, or just like a conflation of memory somehow?
I'm just saying, for me, and that's what I say, I try to be very, very cautious about what. If you'll notice the articles that I did when I did the enlisted witnesses back in November for property mechanics, I didn't discuss that, and that's simply because I'm not saying it's not true. It just didn't pass the test. And when I talked to people, that I felt 100% confident that was an accurate recollection and memory of those events. It could have teleported to the cap point. It could have some other contact. That's the other thing is, I'll just say, when I went through that, it's one of these things where, as you look back 15 years later, could the object have passed through this region that was a cap point at some point in time? And then therefore, as you look back in it, you go, well, it wasn't the cap point. It must have been this and this. And I really love all those guys. I think they're great salt of the earth people. Gary, Kevin, all of them. I can't stress enough. And you talk to Gary, I was always been impressed by him. He would sit there and I would talk about systems. He'd be like, "Oh no, you can't be that." It's, he would know these systems like the back of his hand. But when it came to that, just that particular account, do I think that anyone overtly is being deceptive there? No, I've never detected deception with any of these people. Do I think that there's potential that you're out there for the weeks at time, could at some point in time they have passed through it, and you just bring this back into, and it kind of really poisons that memory. With all of those guys, and they'll be the first to tell you, I'm very nice. I still talk to them. I think they're great guys. I don't turn to them necessarily for evidence and eyewitness testimony anymore, because it's no offense to them, but they just, all the events and attention that they've gotten the past 2 years, I try to get them as fresh as possible before you start getting everything. And that's why it's unfortunate that a lot of the good the best testimony I've got has come from people that I had to track down who hadn't come out yet. But it was very important to me to get corroborating evidence that hadn't told the story time and time and time again, to see where you could corroborate different things. And so the cap point thing, I that's just me. I'm just saying, as of right now, I don't consider that to be a significant. I wouldn't bring that in the court of law if the case depended on that.
So it's in a way like, you're talking about not interviewing people after they've told the same story for years and years, and in a way, and multiple people have told the story. And do you get kind of like crosstalk in a way, like one person's story infects another person's story? And I'm thinking here of Underwood to a degree. Chad Underwood is the guy who took the video, the Fleur video, after Fravor went out there, and he gave an interview that's in the Intelligencer magazine, and in it he's talking about the object making sudden movements, and he says that's what caught my eye, like it contradicted the laws of physics, and he mentions, like in the same paragraph, that it dropped from 80,000 feet to 500 feet. But I don't think that's something that he personally saw, that particular thing, the 80,000 feet. That's something that, Kevin Day observed on the radar.
Yeah.
So it almost seemed to me like, and this is something I wanted you to clarify with him, if you could talk to him, is if he was kind of blending in things that people had told him, or even things that he'd read about or seen on TV, that people, like other people's accounts, like Fravor's accounts of the ping pong, could in a way kind of infect his recollection, his retelling of it, even subconsciously. Even though he's telling it as if it's from his perspective, he's also telling it from a broader...
He's clearly saying in this mumble jumble that each person from the Navy influence each other's accounts. That's what he's trying to say. Where they didn't witness themselves, they heard it third hand, right? Oh, that's fairly obvious, and that's what this Tim is saying. He said he likes to get them fresh before they've been influenced by other people.
This guy doesn't need sleeping tablets. He talks himself to sleep.
Yes.
Jesus, he's the biggest cure for insomnia that I know of. And look at Tim there. He's about to fall asleep, mate.
Yeah, he's just thinking, shut up.
Oh, man. Yeah, Jesus. And if you noticed, at the end of the interview, Tim was telling him, look, I need to get off now. He'd had enough.
I didn't get to the end. I got to about here, and I think I couldn't listen to it anymore.
It's bullshit.
I just got sick of hearing Mick West interrupt him all the time. The thing is, though, he doesn't even dress up. This guy's at least dressed up, sort of semi-good. This guy's always in a sloppy t-shirt, it's not a good image,
No, I don't see any issue with that at all. But if he spoke that, if he said the right things, then I would forgive him for his sloppy dress or sloppy background or whatever. But I think Tim is far more in the know on what happened here. And when they were talking about the cat point, just to make that clear, that's the rendezvous point, isn't it, where they were all supposed to meet up again? And it was there waiting for them. But of course, we don't know how much has been lost in translation with that. Unless we were fully aware of the actual data. But I mean, it could have been someone hacking the radio frequency, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although their systems are designed,
they knew where.
Yeah, the radar systems were designed so they couldn't be interfered with. They used that pulse wave radar system. Basically, it's multiple radar systems all being fed into one big computer database, and it's all mapping at 3Ds. And they talked about that at some point in this interview anyway, so go back and listen to it. I'll post the link if people want to do that. I might not be friends with Mick West anymore, but, he blocked me, not the other way around. I was asking him why.
But hold on. I think you were certainly in the right on that one. You challenged him to what qualifications he had, and he blocked you as, from what I can see, was a direct result of him being challenged.
He said qualifications don't mean a thing, but at least it's not so much. It's not so much the qualifications, the experience you get from going to university and meeting a lot of brighter people than yourself. And I think he needs to meet other people that's super intelligent, because maybe he's got a high IQ, but he seems to come across as a know-it-all. Especially on the debunking field, you see the attitude on him. He doesn't even have a sense of humor. He needs to go to university to grow a sense of humor. It's like the proper English. He's like the Queen from UK debunker. Even UFO Jesus was hilarious, that interview, and I was cracking up about the seagull stuff, and Mick West was like that, you know. British sense of humour, no. So who we got? We got Secure Team in the side chat. I don't think that's the real one though. In fact, in 2 days' time, he's meant to be going to court for final trial. So Susan just blocked Secure Team there.
I didn't actually.
Oh, did you? I don't know what he was saying because I haven't been following the side chat. So hopefully the moderators are just watching what's going on there. I don't like blocking people if they're not being too offensive, right? So.
Yeah, no, but that was a little bit distractful.
I know it's a bit of a distract if someone comes on trolling with
no,
fake
It
accounts.
wasn't that. It wasn't that. I read what you said there, Paul.
Yeah, I'll probably have to zoom in and pause it and whatever. So we're getting up to the 56-minute mark now, and we go to there, and then we'll move on, and you can have the final say on it.
Perspective, like he's incorporating other people's stories, and did that seem? I guess we'll have to talk to Chad and ask him, but
we'll have to talk. Yeah, we will, and you know, I understand. Like I said, I think he has always, I think from the get-go, kind of shied away from it, and I don't think it's because he doesn't believe everything that went on there. And I would say that let's go to what he said. What was interesting to me about what Chad said when he came out in the Intelligencer in New York Magazine was it's strikingly remarkable to me because there was a lot of contention, and I know you brought this up about a longer video and who had seen what, and so it was consistent with what some other people had talked about, and in fact, Favor's wingwoman had said with this bucket of minnows darting around, and so I found it very compelling. But you're right. We would need to talk to him and say, is this what you saw on the radar screen or on the FLIR screen that formed that his description was very consistent with the other descriptions that were given there because of his lack of involvement with the rest of everybody who's been involved and kind of going on the news or doing things. I just don't know. You're right. It would be reckless of me to form an actual conclusion because I don't know how much Chad Underwood has paid attention to this. And so I don't know how much influence that would be in it. And again, what's interesting to me with this, and I came into this, a year ago when I said, all right, I'm going to seriously investigate this in general. It wasn't just limited to the Nimitz, and I know we said we talked beforehand is that I have very, very, very limited involvement with the 2015 events. I choose not to talk about them because I think that's reckless to talk about it with such limited information. But it was some of what these people have described.
I didn't notice.
I was really, really surprised, Mick, to see this was not just an isolated event in 2004. And I mean down to the point of the weird angled movements and shape of objects, color of objects. There was one that I hope to maybe bring out an article with about the Loring Air Force Base one. So there's these weird cases that go out there, and that was in 1975. There's these weird cases where you see this strange kind of similar pattern with what we would call unidentified flying objects, which I contend aren't flying, of these strange zipping around angles, and they're not flying. And so I agree wholeheartedly with you when you say, I hear what they're saying, but ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't fit our physics. Now, I agree. There's absolutely zero. You won't sit here and have me say it fits our physics. And in fact, you don't hear me go down the rabbit hole. I got another plug of trying to say that this is anti-gravity technology, both secret and or alien. I take this nuanced view that we're potentially looking at something very, very complex. and that may not be able to be easily simplified, and it may not be new to 2004. It may be something that's long-standing, and I think that's where my continued interest has gone into this. Going down to recently, and if this is something you want to discuss, is I spent a lot of time wanting to know, where did the social sentiment and opinion regarding UFOs come from? Yeah. And so I think the seminal 56. Kind of what ended Project Blue Book and everything was the Condon Report in 1969. And I don't fault anybody for not reading all 1,426 pages. I'm a nerd, I'll admit it. And I was really, I'll tell you, Mick, I was surprised at two things. My impression of what was said in that report versus what was reported that that report had said in the news media, even following that time. I was really surprised that their conclusion was ultimately they didn't see any scientific or national security value of continuing to study this, but yet acknowledged the limitations in optical and atmospheric science. And in the value statement, they said
Mick West
this conclusion may not hold for all time.
Know.
And I found it very interesting to add that. And I'll just say, real quick, before you rebuttal that, is that I think
he's laughing.
The most interesting things that I found there and didn't expect to see.
So it's almost like a false laugh, though, isn't it? So it sort of cuts off very quickly.
They said,
I don't think he slept well that night.
Clearly, prosaic explanations couldn't be completely ruled out. However, the most
amused
conclusion based on everything was a intelligently controlled mechanical device of unknown origin. That's weird. That's a weird thing for them to say. And that was their conclusion. And so, for me, they could have explained 11,999, but that one there that they decided was most likely a mechanical device of unknown origin, that's interesting. Yeah. And so
what year did that come out?
1969 is when it was released, and that's why I say that I think people have, if you spend a lot of time looking at that, what you'll see is that it was submitted in November of 1968. The Condon Report was submitted. It went through peer review. It was actually not formally publicly released until late January 1969. However, it was reported in the news, and in fact, famed science writer Walter Sullivan with the New York Times reported on it in January 7th. So a month before the actual report came out, it had been reported in the news of what the conclusions were. And I think if you looked at it, though, and I'm not saying that they said these are aliens. I just say that they
I think Mr. Security's come back with a second account.
Come to a conclusion here.
Yeah, I know.
I think sometimes the vocabulary and the phrasing that you get in these official reports sometimes gives an impression that perhaps wasn't the intent of the impression. Like, for example,
he's got a twitchy
we mentioned
neck there,
unidentified aerial phenomenon. And I had one guy, a journalist of long-standing, who's been writing about this stuff for a long time, who was saying, Mick, why do they call it a phenomenon?
It reminds me of that.
If it's not something phenomenal,
Max Headroom.
he was thinking that phenomena meant something that was something incredible and amazing and outside of our understanding, like monsters and aliens and magic and things like that. When obviously unidentified aerial phenomena, from just their perspective, it just means something that happened. It's the phenomena that happened. It's an unidentified aerial thing. It's just phenomena sounds a bit better than thing. So it's either like it means that they're not ruling out things like lights in the sky that are a Venus. It's not necessarily a flying object. It could be some like optical thing.
This is just ridiculous.
Camera, things like that. So these are
look at Timmy. He's twitching like crazy. He wants to get out that machine gun thing of mine and shoot Mick. You can see, just look at his face here, look. This guy needs to shut up. Who cares about phenomenon with what his mate was meaning, Oh, God. What's that got to do with? It's like taken away from the whole thing of the interview. It's going in a different direction. He's trying to say something serious here about the government reports, and he's just destroying his own interview, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway,
yeah. Hence, in the end, Tim had a little bit of enough, and he could have got a lot more out of him. You know, I think if he just shut his mouth and let him speak.
Yeah, should have been 2 hours with Tim. Just go, Tim. Tell us everything. Something will pop out. I know Black Vault tried to get stuff out of him. But yeah.
Well, Black Vault got plenty out of him, to be honest. Or as much as he could say.
He wanted lots more, though.
Oh, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah. Which is kind of understandable if you're a UFO guy and you know you want to be in the know. For some reason, Tim McMillan seems to be a person that a lot of people put the faith in and want to hand their witness testimony over and what they know because they consider him reliable and trustworthy. Simple as.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to come this year, for sure.
And over the next 5 to 10 years, Paul, I think the whole walls of Jericho could collapse, you know.
So yeah, Tim's sort of losing it more and more as it's going on here. You see the facial.
Oh, you could see it throughout the interview, Paul.
Look at this look! Look at the look! I'll zoom in. Look at that!
Oh shit! How are we going to explain this? Oh no!
I'm not sure what that.
I'm not sure. No.
I'm not sure what he's talking about there, but I'll just have a quick look.
At the highest levels, if the potential existed when people started pushing that could have access, so the politicians and leaders, that this was an illegal statement or an incompetent statement, meaning that they hadn't thoroughly examined it and the general counsel hadn't approved it legally. 7 months away from a presidential election in the United States of America, you would, if it was consistent with what we have seen in the last 3 years, you would probably see the entire Democratic oppositional party, the Democratic National Convention, 80% of Hollywood, and everybody else as pointing out yet another example of incompetence and everything, because that's how politics work. And in these positions, these are politically appointed positions. And so...
But are you putting up illegal or incompetent as being the two options here? Because that's not how it seems to me. Like, I mean, it seems like a fairly straightforward statement that on the face of it, there's nothing wrong with it to me.
Well, sure. If the idea is that they did know what these objects were, right? Or they had a good,
no. I'm not suggesting that they know what the objects were. I think that the objects are unidentified, but they have an idea of the type of things that they might be. Like, I think they think that the like Fleur, for example, might be a video of one of a number of things. It could be a commercial jet, it could be a military jet, it could be a drone, it could be a jet flown by a foreign power, it could be a Russian jet or a Chinese jet. It could be a number of things, and they have an idea that it might be one of those things, but they haven't identified what it actually is.
Is ignoring the witness testimony again?
Gimbal, like, gimbal. I have two hypotheses for gimbal, not gimbal. Go fast. I have two hypotheses that it's either a bird or a balloon because it's something that's moving slowly at a certain altitude. I think it's probably a balloon, but I wouldn't rule out bird. And of course, it could be some kind of, slow-moving drone or something like that. So you can know things about the videos without actually identifying them. So maybe they've done analysis on these videos, the same type of thing that I've done. Yeah, to determine these things. Like,
so the Go Fast is a slow-moving drone. Wasn't it doing 300 miles per hour? Didn't they do analysis on it and estimated the speed of it? It's going a fair distance. I don't. If that a bird could be consistent for all that length of time flying at that speed, I don't think it's a bird. Balloon possible on an air current at 300 miles an hour near the sea level. But then they're saying it wasn't near the sea level, and it looked like it was. Who cares, you know? And you just got to go by what the pilots were seeing and stuff that's not actually available to us as on video and stuff. I think if you saw some strange thing pass between the planes that's inside a cube, you know, a cube thing flying by that you see on Star Trek, then that's what you saw. And if more than one pilot saw the same thing, then you got to say, well, it can't be an optical illusion that one person saw. It's a shared experience, and we all saw it. Unless it's a false memory being projected somehow. You never know what sort of technology is out there. Sorry?
No, but, well, I don't believe, for 1 second all those witnesses were delusional. Well, I think you all know my opinion on this super duper technology, anti-gravity technology, which we've apparently had since the 50s. No, I'm just not buying it. We're still using silly old fossil fuels, big chemical fireworks at the end of the day. So until I see something that makes sense to me, how can that breakthrough in technology, I'm leaning towards it's somebody else's, and it's not human. Can I put it any other way? It's alien. But of course, you got to be careful when you say that. People might think you're a kook, but the evidence, in my opinion, is overwhelming.
I know, we got the troll back again.
So he's gone now
these
for
guys. He's probably got multiple accounts. I was super surprised that some of them have got thousands of accounts.
It's okay, he's still got the same limit to select.
Yeah, some people are just stupid, aren't they, out there in the UFO field? Whether they're like CIA, black men in black trolls or whatever, we don't care. We're just after the truth here. But yeah, you can see here mixed faces strange. So what they're saying there, let's have a quick look.
And rule that out. Remember I said the complex problem. They're zipping around, not in our physics. But we don't have evidence for doing that right there. So maybe we need to look for something else.
We're pruning the tree of evidence here, getting rid of the dead wood that's kind of getting in the way, and eventually we'll get a stronger tree which will be able to support a good hypothesis that may turn out to be the right one.
I truly hope, and that's where I approach it from my part. I understand that maybe I get more accolades from the UFO community, but I think that's because the work that I do looks at these people who are investigating them from a government standpoint, or I just have a different approach. It's not saying it's not scientific. It is an empirical, logical approach, and that's how I make sure I let people know it's through pure logic, which I come from a social science background, where you realize one thing and one thing only: people are freaking weird. People do weird things, and
I was talking about that guy on the side.
This with your conspiracy work is that oftentimes the grand conspiracies, the deep state, boil down to human factors that are silly. And it goes back to that 1910 thing. People have harped on that with the release of the videos. And I go, guys, ladies and gentlemen, people make mistakes. And in fact, if you read the form, God bless him. He, it's not like I'm buddies with him, but our interaction has always been very pleasant. And I assume Mr. Luis Elizondo filled out that form. I think he's admitted that. He misspelled gimbal. All right, we're all human. Right. We all make mistakes. And so a lot of these things, and I go that with the government. I mean, that's why I don't feud with them. I've tried to work with them to explain them the information that we've got. And, hopefully the same goes there. I would love if they, and in fact, so that you are aware, I have petitioned them, to their engineering reports down at Naval Weapons Systems Command to try to provide you, me, and everybody some more information. Because I think if you have that information and we have that information, well, that changes the dynamic.
I need to see that 400-page report.
I could be wrong, but Mick, I don't think you're going to go, guys are still full of shit. You know, you're going to go, well,
I'm going to look at the new information.
Right. And see what we can do. And so, yeah, no, I
it's
think
it's a very interesting situation still. You know, it's amazing it's been going on so long as well. It's and hopefully, you know, we'll get more information and we'll be able to get some kind of resolution, you know, at least on some of these videos. I'm kind of confident that at some point my at least my rotating glare analysis is going to be vindicated, but it may take a while.
I think, and I'll go on record, here we are, everybody, from limited information. No, I think your rotating glare analysis is a good one. I will tell you, I've spoken to F-18 pilots, defense industry experts, technology engineers, and everything. The distant plane hypothesis, they're not on board with. Okay, but I've never flown F-18. The rotating gimbal thing that you have demonstrated, all of which have said, yeah, no, that's pretty. Yeah, I think that's a very good hypothesis. And so I don't know. I brought this up, and I think some people were like, no, it's a big deal. They said on the TV show and everything. And I'm like, I would hope, and I hope that you'd agree with me too. I don't think that you don't produce YouTube videos for people to go, well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen, science has been solved. And the same goes for the TV shows. And so I don't know what they said. I don't pay attention to that. Not knocking your YouTube videos. I'm just saying people can be wrong. People do weird things. And again, it could be a non-rotating alien spacecraft that for whatever reason, if it's alien, they sure don't give a shit what we think and want to do, because they're not... they're not giving us any evidence.
That's a whole other discussion. What the heck is going on here?
I don't even try to pretend. I barely, and I've been almost 20 years, I've been trained to understand human behavior and the way people work. I don't even understand that. I'm not even going to try to understand an alien species. But it's interesting, and that's all I'll say. I know we're probably running close on time, and I'll just say, Mick, I appreciate it. And I would hope that anybody coming through there, whether it's the people on Metabunk that really put in a lot of great work and they do this analysis, the people on the UFO side, there's some really good, legitimate investigators. I'll tell you, as someone who trained investigators, they're good investigators in any field. You don't hear about them much. They don't get on there and argue with you on Twitter. They don't do this type of stuff, but they do some really good analysis. And I hope that on both of those sides,
they out their channel,
the potential that this is a complex
I don't know if he watches me.
That's going to require some really out of the box thinking, or some thinking that realizes that our current hypothesis may not fit an answer. We got to look a little further.
Box, I'm afraid.
Hey man, if we encourage that, I really don't give a shit if they decide it's aliens or not. But if they develop the technology that leads us to Mars, or they develop the AI that does something that is innovative because they're trying to solve what this could be, well, I really don't care if it's aliens or not. And I know the UFO crowd maybe don't want to hear that, but I'm like you. I'd love for it to be aliens. I really would. But if it's going to be it, I do want it to be held to the standard where I think I mentioned that Mick West and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Seth Shostak lead the parade arm in arm of excitement, because this would be the greatest. This would be the greatest thing in human history. So let's treat it like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of scientists are really science fiction fans as well. So they're all on board with aliens being out there if it's a possibility, and they would love for it to happen. And they would love, even if it's just something like discovering radio signals from another star. That would be quite amazing. And aliens flying around in little alien spaceships would be quite amazing too. But then again, if it's just like the Chinese with their warp drives, that would also be very amazing. So whatever happens, there's a potential for something that's amazing, but I'm still holding out for the potential where there's something pretty boring as well. But we may never know.
Well, we got to disprove that. Other than I would just say, I don't.
That's why the government spent 22 million
around.
That's why the government spent 22 million trying to discover something really boring.
Well, okay. Okay. I'll make a little comment on that, because they spent 22 million. That's a drop in the ocean.
It is
in a black budget world. But you see, what you have to take into consideration there is that all the technology was there for them to use anyway. They had all that at their disposal, like, you know, any photographic evidence, any materials could have been examined and studied. So, so you don't need to put that part of it in place. It was already there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well, we played quite a lot of that in the end, but we talked about it throughout, so hopefully it's all right for fair use. I don't have to play around with the voices and stuff. Hopefully,
well, I mean, I don't understand how it can't be fair use because
it's a lot of hassle.
Oh, it's entirety, so
yeah, you'd have to take it to court to really defend it, and a lot of people just can't be bothered with all that nonsense. America can just sue the pants off everybody. That isn't crazy much, but yeah, considering that they've just given away $1 trillion in stimulus checks, and there's 22 million on researching UFOs, it's kind of funny, really. In fact, maybe if they gave $1 trillion to research and a cure for these viruses, it would have been solved within a week. Who knows?
Bill Gates, the opportunist as ever.
Yeah, the Truth Factory put out a good episode yesterday. Did everyone watch the woman from? I think she's from Canada. She's got about 30,000 followers, so she does good little documentary segments, telling people the truth about what media's not telling you. All the media's just fake news, basically. But yeah, Google likes fake news. They rather promote fake news than channels like us. And they probably limited me. I haven't actually looked. Let's see, what's it say? They always limit me. I don't know what. As soon as you talk about aliens or something, suddenly the ads are turned off. Let's have a look. Takes a wee while here just to bring it up. Yeah, the CPU's maxing out there. I might have to see if I can switch over Jitsi to this, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't interfere. Now, you know, it seems to be running fine. Everyone down the side chat is happy, so
yeah, but we hit 100% CPU there quite a lot of times. Yeah, the ads are limited, by the way. I thought it would be.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to improve this so we can get some more CPU, because it limits to me what I can do here.
Don't do it now. Don't do it.
No, not now. Sometime I need to experiment some more there.
Yeah.
So we got phone open lines today, guys, to talk about UFO topics. Have your say. If you've seen a UFO, come on, tell us about your experience. And me and Robert would love to hear about it. And saw a lot of people on the side chat want to hear about it.
Yeah.
We had some guy from Ireland, which we haven't heard from since. Unfortunate. Sounded like a good case. We wanted some pictures from him. But he may have had the hard word put on him from MUFON investigator not to come and talk to us. Who knows? But I did ask Earl to check up on it, and it's still open case. It's been investigated. So yeah, we might find out eventually how it pans out. It might be classed as a unknown case after all. But I was a bit worried that anyone can pick up something from MUFON database and just phone up and just pretend to be that person. So yeah, more information that person can give to verify who they are and all that makes us a lot happier here on the Out There channel, because I'm really data hound.
Okay, it does pay to be skeptical, Paul, but I can tell you now that guy was from where he told you he was from. That I know.
Yeah, he sounded very credible, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And you know, you were saying that the American accent and the Irish accent is similar.
Where someone could mimic Irishman.
It could be to you, because like in this part of the world, you see, we have a bit of difficulty distinguishing New Zealand from Australian, but because they live so close to me, I can tell the difference quite easily, you know.
Australians emphasize the O a lot more, like they say skew. Well, we say school, you know. But then I got a English influence in mine, so people hear English in my accent. I'm not actually Kiwi, you know. So yeah, I was actually born in Scotland, by the way. We settled in New Zealand, but I was like I was 5.5 when I got settled in New Zealand.
Do you wear a skirt then?
Wear a skirt.
Yeah.
Well, Scottish. If you watch Outlander, the Scottish are very
oh no!
hot.
This is
Every girl wants a Scottishman now.
Oh,
Just ask Susan. She would clearly have a Scotsman.
Oh, never trust a man who wears skirts.
Well, that's a good way to keep your nuts cool. That's why they're on the outside. Better for sperm count.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Well, you brought up skirts, but anyway.
I'm loose.
Yeah, you lucky man. I love Scotland. I was actually born in Inverness, of all places. So, yeah, Loch Ness Monster territory. Not that I know anything about Scotland, because we're only there a year and a half, and I was only a little kid. Then we moved out to Libya, of all things. So they got posted from the Air Force out there to set up radar installation in Libya, which is probably still being used today. I think they renamed the location. It's not called that anymore, is it?
So what part of Scotland were you born in then?
I just told you Inverness.
Inverness. Oh, so you're kind of well up north there.
Yeah, and a little shack that you see on Outlander anyway. Apparently, according to the parents anyway. They didn't have much. But yeah, Dad sort of saved up big and ended up buying a house out in New Zealand here with all the money.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a little bit warmer in Scotland, that's for sure, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they did have a house at one stage in UK, it'd probably be worth like millions of dollars by now. Land price there has just skyrocketed. They probably said, "Oh, we shouldn't have sold it, maybe." But yeah, we've been all over the world. Or Dad has anyway. He's travelled a lot to set up radar systems, and we sort of set up. We're sort of set up in different base camps. So we've also been in Germany for a year and a half. And as a kid, I used to speak fluent German. I can't do it now. Wie geht's? Guten Tag.
I had a German girlfriend for the best part of 4 years.
Yeah.
I never picked it up at all, you know, Paul. But
so people hassle me about my English, but you can see that I moved around a bit as a kid and had multiple languages, and some words just trip me up. And my mum was never really well educated. She was like the school rebel, you know, smoking out the back sheds and not really paying attention at school. So she's not like the bright one in the house. She's always the one that we have to help out with the technology side of things. But she's mum, and mum is mum. And Dad was like the brains of the family. And of course, they set up a business in New Zealand to like a dairy corner. There wasn't many Indians over here at that stage, so they didn't own everything, but they owned a corner store, which did fairly well. And then Dad got sort of bored with it, and he wanted to go back into electronics and teach what he had learnt in the Air Force, and got into university, well, college, as they call it here, City College. Which ain't it's like a sub-university, right? It's meant to be aimed at people, trying to get people into work. But a lot of people he's taught actually set up businesses and millionaires now. So yeah, he's influenced a lot of great minds, and of course a lot of technology you may even heard of. You might have heard of Trimble Navigation. He actually trained the owners of that firm and into electronics and stuff. So yeah, he was influential in the NZQA qualification systems, where he actually created exams for electronics as well. So that's what all my dad used to do. And of course, my dad's also been underground bases, which are still secret to today. He was actually doing some contract work for NATO and all sorts of other things, top secret stuff. So, yeah. I'm not some talking dumbhead on a YouTube channel. I actually do have qualifications. I have 2 degrees, and I do have also people like my father and decent contacts, as you know, like you're from MUFON, which is a really good guy that I've known for 3 years, and he's actually a real investigator. God. So yeah, I haven't seen all these great guys on these other channels called Alien Attic and Goof on Radio that's sort of always attacking me, right? And I don't work with frauds, third phase of the moon. I certainly would never work with them, and I certainly wouldn't work with Tyler. So yeah, it's a big criminal network, like I said in my last live, what's out there. And do background checks on everyone, because it's amazing what rap sheets a lot of these people that's running these YouTube channels have. You know, even the flat earthers, even Dazza the cameraman has exposed some of those with criminal records for abusing wives and stuff like that, and telling lies.
Well, yeah, sports science, my qualifications were in planes of motion and all that kind of thing, which I found a little bit difficult, to be honest. I had to work a bit harder than that than I did on the practical side of it, you know. But anyway, oh my God, Lucky Bulger, what do you think of Billy Meyer? Keep doing a dance around with him.
Well, we sort of covered that.
He's actually a strange case, though. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna throw him out completely, but obviously he did fake a lot of stuff, and
well, I thought he faked all of it actually. What I
think, what I think was happening during that 50s, even there was a lot of people with spiritual belief. Adamski falls into this category as well. What I think happened, they used the UFO as a means of spreading their version, of religion, if you like, which probably wasn't the best idea, but it worked, and he had big followings. You know, that kind of thing can go awfully wrong. Look at Heaven's Gate. Was that in the 80s? Was that in the 39 suicides? Or something like that, you know? You know, and that kind of thing sets ufology back quite a long way. So Billy Meyer, for me, he's a big fail, because I don't think he helped the subject.
He's just a cult member, as far as I understand. Exactly. And of course, they're making good money from it too. But all of his UFO ones, like models on Fishing Wire. We've talked about it in previous live streams, but it might be the case that he actually did see a UFO and got interested in it and started fabricating stuff, embellishing stuff, and it just went wrong from there onwards, right? So who knows? There may be some truth there initially, but it all went wrong later. And we see that a lot of cases with contactees also embellishing stuff after and going to contact in the desert and all that sort of stuff.
Well, with Adamski and Meyer, and there's several others as well. Van Tassel was another odd one. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm absolutely certain they were hiding behind their spiritual beliefs and using UFOs as a way to get people interested, you know? Saying that they were our space brothers and they were here to help us. And there's absolutely no evidence for that whatsoever. In fact, I think it's quite troubling and dangerous, and it set the UFO community, I mean, those that were looking for the real truth, that trying to research this properly, it set them back.
Let's face it, being abducted in the middle of the night is actually not Space Brothers activity, is it?
It's without consent, Paul.
Mm.
No, ain't nothing fair about that.
Yeah, taking blood and stuff without permission. It's not like they would show up in the daytime and say, look, we want to explain this to you and see if you want to help us. You know, like if they take you into a presentation and say, oh, we'll take you to the home planet now and zoom off and say, well, this is what's happening here and we need some help and we've got a genetic defect that needs to be corrected or whatever, you know, where they're mutated too much from radiation damage and they need new DNA or whatever is going on. Or they want to study us to understand the bigger picture of the universe. You know, you might be thinking, oh yeah, let's do it. It's not going to be any harm taking out blood. But then you hear these stories of melt haze, where there's meant to be a remote viewer that saw an underground base there doing experiments on humans, a bit like S4, whatever it was, complex body parts and people going missing up in Alaska being used in this underground base for experiments. Aliens that look a wee bit like us but more intelligent. Not the usual alien greys, according to the remote viewers anyway. It was on a series called Alaska Triangle, episode 9 I think it is, if you've not seen, about melt haze, and James Fox goes there. It doesn't find anything, obviously. The weather comes in and they have to leave. He takes some equipment there. He's probably only there for about 30 minutes and then they have to go. As if he's going to find anything, just doing it by himself. And blizzard, snow and stuff. But yeah, it's a good series. Go and check it out. It's one of the better UFO shows, I think, or UFO/Bigfoot/ghost shows anyway, because it covers the whole spectrum.
Well, you kind of know my opinion on TV shows, don't you? I don't lend much to any TV show, to be honest.
I think they're getting better. They're getting more.
Paul, I just don't think it's good learning your trade, you know. I really don't, and I think it can lead you up the garden patch. But that's just my opinion, and of course, TV shows are a nice little escape.
Some are good, some are really bad. Ghost Caught on Camera is a really bad show. There's a lot of stuff there that's 99% debunkable and inexplainable. But when you got stories like from Alaska Triangle, where people were telling you there's sightings, a bit like what Tim was talking about, you got to believe them. Because multiple people saw it or whatever, come out of the water, fly away, whatever. But the remote viewer is questionable, of course. Unless you can prove otherwise with other people coming out saying, yeah, this remote viewer is actually correct.
Yeah, something came up about that today, you know. Do you remember the guy called the skeptic, called James Randi?
Great Randy, yeah.
James.
Well, they call him the Great Randy, the debunker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. I'm not sure. He's quite an old man.
He's quite old. He's quite old now. He's got a white beard and all that.
Yeah, I believe he's 97.
He always goes on stage with these glasses on, and then he says, "Have you been paying attention?" And he pulls it off and sticks his finger through the wire frame, saying, "Well, they had no glass in them," and no one even noticed that they were fake glasses.
Yeah. This is the whole thing. That's what he was. He was a magician. Turned skeptic.
And he was friends with Richard Feynman as well, the great scientist.
Same guy. Same guy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What was his name again? Feynman. He was a physicist, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did the famous Feynman diagrams. Everybody out there, if they know about science, they know about the Feynman diagrams. He was actually raised as a Jewish Eastern Jew man, scientist, but I think he abandoned the religion over science because they thought it was crazy that the Jewish people wouldn't use elevators or electricity on Saturday, was it? Certain day of the week anyway. And they had to go up and down the stairs instead. Or they could go in an elevator as long as someone else pushes the buttons or something crazy like that. Well, yeah, he's got a couple of books out that I talk about on one of my live streams. Actually, one of my episodes. Go and check it up and do a book review. He's a really clever guy, and he's very, very funny as well. He's no Mick West, that's for sure. He's actually got a really good sense of humour. He used to encrypt his letters back and forth to his wife, and he got told off by the government because he was working on the atomic bomb project. That he can't do that anymore unless he gives them the clue how to decode it. So yeah, but his wife would encode it with her own method, and he'd have to try and break it. So they sort of like that, you know. Two scientist minds. But yeah, he died of cancer in the end, didn't he? He was mucking around with a lot of cancer, radioactive materials. So I think he used to have a glow stick at parties. They used to hand it around. So that's probably radioactive, wouldn't it? So back then they didn't know too much about radiation before all the nuclear bombs went off with the testing and stuff. They used to think radiation used to be good, you know, and they used to have all sorts of things, radioactive soap and stuff like that actually gave off radiation. So anyone out there wants to talk about UFOs, recent topics, come and join us on video chat here. You don't have to be on video, but you can just talk on voice. You can phone in on the number at the top there. Don't be scared. We'll have to hear from more people out there that's had especially close encounters, you know. The last guy we had on from Ireland, he saw it from 200 feet away. That's pretty close. And we've had a lot of people seen it further distances, like 300 feet, 500 feet, and 1,000 feet. But once you get beyond that point, things start to get a bit more murky, what they saw. Of course, they never catch these on film, unfortunately. And they don't have outside security cameras that can capture anything, even though they're rubbish. That would be better than nothing, I guess. And of course, you never have another witness if it's early in the morning or whatever, and you're getting up for a drink and you're looking out the kitchen window. And it's gone within 30 seconds, so what's that? Goofon hates me. Of course he does. Because I've exposed his lies and exposed that he's working with third phase on the moon. He's a con artist, 40-year-old man turned 90.
But thank you for saying what you did there. You know, as long as you're genuine with.
It's Goofon only 40. I thought he was like 54 or higher.
No, he's not that old. No, he's not that old. Remember, this is the guy who sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He actually admits it on a live stream.
Oh yeah, good God, this is not me telling the story. You can check that out, and you can verify it yourself. It's actually on it's actually on SAW, Spaced Out Radio, David Scott's channel, where he's talking on a round table, and he actually used a Ouija board for 127 days because he was kind of skint. He had no money. He had no job. He wasn't in a relationship, so he thought it was a good idea to sell his soul to the devil. I'm not sure that was the best plan. So anyway, he done these 127 Ouija board visits over not every night, but over a period of kind of like 6 to 9 months or what have you. He's not sure himself. And then one day he went into, I think it was his parents' bedroom, and he found a crucifix.
Did he?
Okay, so he thought this was a sign from God, to denounce the devil. So he denounced the devil. And then all hell sat loose. He developed this really bad cough.
Right.
He ended up in hospital. Allegedly, the insides of his tummy area, abdominal region, was kind of burnt out. They couldn't understand why he had those symptoms. But anyway, obviously he's recovered. But I think taking advice of that man after selling the soul to the devil and then denouncing him in the same breath was probably not the best idea, was it?
No.
Now, do you know what? His story might be genuine. Maybe there was something actually going on there. And this is the whole problem. When you start messing with Ouija boards,
you open up portals.
Kind of stuff, you're opening up a whole can of worms, and I hope you can deal with it. Because I tell you what, this is all it takes. It only takes you to believe in a hex, and you're in trouble.
That's true. The power of the mind.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't know about spooky action at a distance and how other people's minds in the world affect you, or create things to happen. Like they reckon poltergeist activity is related to adolescent teenagers in the household. Somehow the energy of their minds somehow is amplified by the environment they live in and cause things to move and strange levitations and all that sort of stuff to happen. Have you ever heard about the Enfield poltergeist? There was some really good documentaries about it. Apparently cops showed up and they had a Lego brick thrown in their face, but there was no one actually throwing the Lego brick, and they saw chairs moving by themselves. But they never caught it on camera. They went there to investigate, and of course they didn't have the same technology we have today, like the ghost hunters have now. So I'm pretty sure the evidence out there has been seen by people, but not actually recorded physically. Same as UFOs. It's like they know that you're filming them and not to do anything. And then as soon as you get the camera out, it all dies away. But the world is strange. We don't know all of it, how we could interact with the environment mentally as well as physically. The butterfly effect, right? So when you sleep, are you going to some sort of brain wave connection point or out of body experience where you're sort of somehow interacting with each other? You talked about having the same dream as I had, but mine was with John, but it could have easily been you. It's just that maybe just a false perception that I was with John in the Arizona desert when it was actually you, and we're jumping on this roof of a warehouse in the dream, trying to break in to stop something happening. You talked about alien invasion in your dream, where I was with you on the roof and we fell through. That's exactly the same as what happened in my dream. So strange stuff like that. The more and more we connect with people that's had experiences, UFO, paranormal, more we seem to have a shared consciousness or synchronicity happening. What's happening in the side chat? A lot of chat going on. I've actually been given a sandwich here, so I've been eating it off and on. Second UFO base. Well, it's all hearsay. Who's the people that actually said there was a base under that? Has it been like really credible military people saying that, or has it just been some crackpot on YouTube saying that?
I mean, you can go one outside of Australia, one in North Atlantic, couple in the Pacific.
Well, there are military bases here. We know that much, and they're doing,
for years. But on the other hand, the first sighting of a USO, an identified submerged object, goes back to Columbus, 1492 even.
Yes, it
and
does.
That was well documented. It wasn't just in his diary; it was in all the people on board's diary. So it's an interesting one, and it was disc shaped. You do wonder, because they didn't even know what a UFO was then, or certainly not a USO.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to have a look over some MUFON cases. Anyone wants to dial in, talk, or want to talk about other topics on the side, let us know.
Even just a question.
Yeah, it's good other people do get brave enough to come on. There's a thing that keeps donating. Someone keeps donating to Goof-On Radio, which I found out yesterday. It was a Pat Walker guy, which sounds like a Native American of Canada by the tone of his voice and what he was saying. But he was talking about out-of-body stuff, and the aliens would come through the window and they looked like little old men, not actual typical greys with big eyes or big head, and they would cut him off to a spaceship that was bright white and do experiments on him. But he kept saying he actually was out of his body, so if they're getting semen and stuff from him, why would they be taking his energy out of body self and not his own physical body? Because it sort of didn't make sense when I was listening to the story that he was telling.
Well, are you familiar with astral projection?
Well, that's what he was talking about, and he was actually talking about doing courses in it and sitting around in a circle and trying to be out of body stuff. But I think when you do that sort of stuff, you can actually then bring attention to yourself. If you come out of body and then you're sort of inside a spaceship watching what they're doing, and they spot you, then they come after you. That sort of thing. It's a bit like that strange dream I had where I had this paranormal apparition show up above the bed when I woke up. Apparently I was watching something happening in this dream. Well, it didn't actually feel like a dream. It felt like I was really there. And then these things started chasing me. It looked like big, fat 10-pin bowling pins without any arms and legs. And just had the head and body. And they come chasing after me. And I was running back, trying to escape. And then suddenly I woke up in bed, and here's one of these things hovering over the bed. Actually physically there. So I couldn't work that one out, whether it was aliens or paranormal. But it certainly scared the crap out of me. And I started flinging stuff at it to try and get it to back off. And then I sort of got to the door, and I was turning around looking at this thing still, hovering there. And the dogs all come running down the hallway. As soon as the dogs just appeared at the door, this thing just went poof, and it sort of expanded into a big white cloud and just disappeared. So yeah, it would have been good to catch it on video and prove that I wasn't going crazy. But I'm pretty sure one of the dogs might have seen it happen. So that's the sort of thing that Mick West needs to have something happen. And then he might change his view on the UFO and paranormal side of things. Now, of course, I didn't have this type of activity for a long time, not until I've got into the UFO field itself and started connecting with people. So it sort of amped up. We did have some paranormal activity start when some guy killed himself in our top apartment that we rented out, and it sort of begun from that point onwards, and my sister sort of brought it back into the house somehow. Other things that come with her from a place that she rented, so she got attachments for sure. So there's something definitely going on. The kids used to talk about seeing ghosts and ghosts trying to pull off the covers of the bed, and one in the cupboard that was slamming the door of the cupboard, and yeah, there's all sorts of things happening with my sister, and she came to stay with us, and she brought it to me. So occasionally I get stuff happening every random times during the year. It doesn't happen every day, every night, but you never know when it's going to happen, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It could be in the day that something happens. Mostly it happens at night though, when you're sleeping or trying to go to sleep and then something happens. It's kind of scary when you get something jump on your bed and there's nothing there. So, but that's meant to be one of the markers of alien abductions, is sensation of something walking on the bed and there's nothing there. So I think you've had a few experiences like that yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had multiple kind of supernatural experiences. But I do remember one when I was back in the old house in Langor. This is a place, I'm 54 now, and we left there when I was between 30 and 31, and I could actually see. I was just waking up. It was like around about 10, 11 a.m. I actually seen depression on the bed, you know.
Oh, right. Like
And then
someone's
as I
sitting
woke
there.
up, oh yeah, and I felt the bed leaning, the mattress leaning, and whoa! I just got up and went down with a coffee, and my dad said, "God, you're up early today." I didn't say nothing, you know. I just didn't say anything. My dad would have probably shot me down and laughed or something, you know. But I was pretty disturbed. But no, didn't see any aliens or didn't have any missing time or anything like that. As far as I know.
Someone's saying it's fallen angels in the side chat. To me, that's a misdirection happening there. I don't think it's fallen angels. I think it's something we've yet to understand. It could be like a portal to
biblical times, doesn't
it? Goes back to before we had science. That's where it sort of stems from, a belief system. But I think there's some real science to it all, and it might be just like I don't know if we have souls, or the energy that we've got becomes like saved in the environment somehow.
Well,
or
I think your soul is...
or if it's interdimensional, where the soul goes into that interdimension and can pop out again, whatever, which might be the same dimension that these other entities come from. Of course, it might be like a parallel world where you can sort of move between the two different universes. Who knows? Still, there might be some real science to it. One day we might figure it all out, and it may not be called paranormal. Really, it shouldn't be called paranormal. It's just something we don't understand. A lot of people think it's mental. It's in your mind. But if you watch enough of these shows on TV now with the technology they're using, where they're getting apparitions appearing in windows and hearing out-of-body voices, even without having to play it back on recorder, you're hearing it on the video camera mic, and there's no one else in the building. Got to be something else more to this, and it's got to be a real science. It should be called paranormal. It should be called parascience rather than paranormal. Parascience. I should rename it somehow. Yeah, but religion and all that, once it gets in there, it sort of muddies the water, I believe, myself. So what's your feeling? You've never been religious, have you? I always sort of, like my parents said, make up your own minds. And so I attended Bible school to ask the hard questions, and in the end the priest had a mental breakdown. He couldn't answer the questions. So I thought, well, if he doesn't know, and he can't give me a direct response to what I want to know, you know, because most of the replies are general or wishy-washy, you know, You know, what's this thing of the burning bush business where the guy's talking to a burning bush?
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Well,
I don't think it was Jesus.
Yeah, but that's actually been used as an excuse to smoke cannabis. The burning of the bush. A lot of these hippie types who I have nothing against, they want to smoke it. So there's no issue with me. So I've never seen an aggressive hippie. That's no problem with me. But to use a biblical statement over that, I mean, another one, for example, is a couple of good friends of mine. Susan and John, brother and sister, they were quite into like the druggy culture and that the clubbing thing that I wasn't into, and then all of a sudden, before I knew it, they were Jehovah Witnesses. I thought, Jesus, man, and of course, because I was friendly with them, they were knocking on my door. So one day they came round and they were giving it all this stuff about the blood transfusion issue, which I could never agree with them. And I says, look, where is your evidence for that? And they said, oh, it comes from this scripture. And I said, okay,
where's that come from?
And it said, never take the blood of another. Now, I don't know what book it was. I mean, I'm not a Bible scholar, but that's what it said, never take the blood of another. Now, I took that to mean never kill another man, but they took it as in that you can't have a transfusion because it'll change you personally. Yeah.
Oh, that means everybody that's had operations is probably in trouble then.
So I said, hold on a minute. I seen you eating steak the other day. Raw.
Really?
Fact. Yeah. So he was baffled now. He didn't know what to do. He says, okay, I'll get in touch with one of the elders. You're not going to believe this.
I go to see Billy Meyer.
2 weeks later, this elder with John knocked on the door. I thought, oh God, what have I done here? Yeah. So he came in and he sat down and he explained to me that a raw steak is not the blood of another. They're intramuscular fluids. What?
Yeah.
So what's an intramuscular fluid?
I don't know. I have to Google it.
Blood. What else could it be? Oh man, this is the whole danger of this cultism and that kind of thing. Although if you tell the Jehovah's their cult, they will they'll take offense to that.
Well, he's saying God created the solar system in the side, but as I've talked about over the years, there's another viewpoint what God could be if you want to have a God. That the universe is God, because it created this solar systems and suns, and the suns created us because we come from sun matter, from what's created in the sun, and it's, when they die, they explode out and then form planets and form new suns and all that sort of stuff. So we still don't know all that. We're still yet to figure out how all that sort of evolves. How energy is recycled and all that sort of business, but all this idea of the Big Bang, and Big Bang versus the idea that the universe has always existed, and if the universe is God, then it's always going to be existing. It's just a matter of recycling energy in the universe constantly from one form to another. It never gets destroyed, just converted to another form. Makes more sense to me than believing that some pale-skinned guy with a beard that was meant to be born in Middle East. How many pale-skinned people that you know born in Middle East exist? Things just don't add up, right? With all the scripture stuff. And then they're fighting over a piece of land and nodding at a piece of wood, piece of what do you call it? The Wailing Wall, whatever they call it over there. The Jewish people and the Palestinians are fighting over the same chunk of land and all that sort of business.
Oh, the Gaza Strip, you mean?
The what?
The Gaza Strip.
Yeah, well, no, the wall where they go and they keep banging their head against it or whatever,
yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but I just laugh at all that sort of stuff myself, and I think, what the hell? Go and do something more productive, instead of going praying to God all the time. So this is another thing that gets me. They talk about God saved us, so yet God created the virus in the first place. Come on, get a grip. And where's your logic?
Yeah,
maybe God created the virus to wipe you all out, He isn't going to save you at all. He wants to get rid of you.
So what you're talking about was the Wailing Wall, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said, wasn't it? Yeah.
I just thought you said the wall. Yeah, the Wailing Wall.
Wailing Wall, yeah.
Yeah, I've got all the time in the world for a God, and anyone who believes in a God, I've got no issue with that. Just don't, if you believe in it, just don't impose it on other people, because that's when it becomes kind of a sin in itself.
Yep. But you can't tell that to churches. And also, you don't go around blowing up innocent people because you don't agree with their way of life.
Oh, no, that's when it's gone to, yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
They talk about aliens being a threat. I think humans are the more threat to themselves than anybody, But yeah, maybe the world will change. I don't know. There's still a lot of crazy people in the world that we have to deal with and we have to live with. So what's this one? The helicopter. What do you reckon on that one? UFO or bluefo? Looks like a bluefo to me. Looks like it's shaped like a bird, flying past, or a bug. But yeah, I think it's been a fairly interesting life here today. It feels like we're doing a Sunday with you rather than a Saturday. So what are you doing tomorrow? Pretty much the same again, is it?
Oh, heck.
You're going to do a couple cases and then you're going to open up lines that no one will actually want to talk to us, though.
Yeah, well, what I was going to do, I was going to look at the elephants in the dreams as well, of course. But I think that would take like about 10 episodes, 4 hours long, to go through all the evidence. So what I was thinking of doing was just looking at two most high-ranking witnesses, which is Thomas DeBose and Arthur Exxon, who were both brigadier generals and both testified. So maybe looking at their statements, and then moving on to another case apparently landing or crash retrieval. It was in Argentina. So, and then there was another one in 1968 in yeah. So we got a bit of ground to cover.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. We got the new reader.
Yeah, that's improved a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I think it has. I did do a little demo at the end of yesterday's live. I did, or the day before, was it? Time flies. What's this doing here? We seem to be hitting CPU up to 100% all the time. So this one here with the bug, I just want to have a look. Oh, there you go. It's clearly a bird. And there's the helicopter. So where's the other thing that they see here? There was another thing, I thought. It's definitely... A bird. Yeah, I can't see it on that picture. But I think it was a little insect. Unless that's another snap. It looks less blurry, this one, than the other one.
Okay, at some point I'll leave you to this stuff now. And
I was just flicking through it. Waiting for. Yeah.
I'll catch you tomorrow evening, and all the other great guys like Charles, Shelley, Suzanne, and all the others, World Star City, all of them that's taken part tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Righto. Okay, Ross, thanks for joining us. So yeah, anyone else wants to come and talk, the numbers on the screen. That's certainly using a lot of CPU there. Still up 100% for some reason. So I'm not too sure how the audio is coming, but normally when the CPU hits 100% we start getting crackling noises. But no one's complained, so I guess it's been okay. So yeah, we covered a fair bit there. It was good to have Robert to bounce stuff off. But yeah, and people on the side chat, of course. So we got 12 likes. Is there any dislikes on that so far? Because it never tells us on that thing. Has anyone disliked? I suppose the guy that we biffed off on the side chat might be. Let's have a quick look. So we got the subs have been sort of going up and down, roughly the same location. So we're not actually progressing on with new viewers, unfortunately. A lot of people sub but don't come on and join the live streams because they can't stand more than 10 minutes of UFO stuff, which is kind of strange in my book. This is where the real stuff happens, where you start talking about stuff and people come out finally saying, yeah, this is the first time I'm going to tell you this. And that's when you get the interesting stuff happening. I used to work for government and did this and did that. So there's probably a lot of people out there that knows a lot more than what we do, what's going on. Just doing a few checks here, but we'll have a look at this case here in a minute. Oh yeah, we got 2 dislikes. That would be the 2 accounts from that guy, won't it? Okay, Sarah. So yeah, what's this guy talking about here in this helicopter? Let's see what the reader does. We haven't tried it out before on this. And let's see how it goes.
I am writing you today because I live in an area of high UFO activity here in the Columbus, Ohio area. I am about 10 miles north of the Rickenbacker Air Force Base. I have all sorts of UFO photos that I took with my iPhone. Would love to have you and your crew come to my house, and we can see these firsthand. There is something that looks like a large building hanging in the sky close to the Air Force Base. It has been there for months that I know of since I discovered it by accident. Have photographed it on different days and different times of the day. It has changed colors, is rectangular in shape, has squared off corners. ETA Euro trademark S always there and never moves. Also there is UFO activity around. If you come to my house I can take you there and show it to you. So, what do you know? Theta Euro trademark S is big as a building, and square corners, and just sits in the sky and never mowed. Sincerely, Ted Mitchin.
But suspect,
did you see
that
it?
one.
Have a comment or question?
But suspect that one because it seems to have some strange characters in it, right? Like it's been copied off a web page and it's got some hidden codes. And the pictures are not all matching up. It's a bit of a shame. Hanging like a large building hanging in the sky. So yeah, just put up some random pictures here from what I can see. And we know that's the bird from the other photograph. It's just some blurred, right? That's this thing coming down. There's definitely no other bug on that picture. So where's the picture of this? See, that looks like a planet, doesn't it? You know, just random pictures thrown together. Oh, we'll keep looking and see what's out there. How do we close that down? Right, yeah. So I was looking at these other ones while Robert was talking. This one here, I think we're looking at lens flare because we're looking at the sun. So that's a bit of a waste of time. And this chemtrail one, I think we're looking at a Mylar balloon. Again, it looks a bit suspect the way the pictures are done here. Taken from a Twitter account, is it? Which is not original photographs, so why would you do that? People trying to promote their channel or whatever, social media. So again, we've got a white blob in the sky, which could be just a Mylar balloon that got heated up by the plane contrail, and it suddenly looks like it's appeared out of nowhere and hanging around. So yeah, those ones don't impress me at all. And again, it looks like a cut and paste job going on here. You know, suspect again. Contrail. See, look, it's all a lot of garbage in the text. If you type that up, you won't get all that garbage in there. Something strange there. It's probably like that guy that was trolling in the side there, probably creating multiple posts, claiming to be from different countries. You had enough, Charles. Charles gone, has he? Rest of the morning, Paul. It's 1 AM. Yeah, what's how long we got here? Probably half an hour, is it? 40 minutes, yeah. We'll keep looking through the pictures here. Still might be something interesting. Now this one here, I was looking at, I thought maybe it was reflection of lights on a window again, or it could be these SpaceX satellites going across what they call it, Starlink. They got the same right spacing. Let's see. Right, and we got two lights in the same distance. So what's that about? So it could be lens flare from those two bright lights. So yeah, let's see what it's saying anyway. We've got a video there, have we? The CPU's peaking a bit. So I'm going to have to maybe work on that a wee bit more, see if I can reduce some of the CPU usage. So it's not going too bad at the moment.
My girlfriend and I have been seeing these objects in the sky for the past month on a fairly regular basis, from the deck of our apartment. They generally show up between the hours of 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. CST. On this night it started around 9 p.m., and we recorded video and took pics till approximately 10 o'clock. The interesting thing is,
sounds
as
like
you'll
SpaceX,
see, on the nights they appear, the street light outside our apartment flashes off and on, and has a greenish tint. The orbs appear to the west and northeast of our building, and every time we zoom in, something happens to my camera, as if it won't allow the camera to focus.
I'm not sure if I believe much of that. between 8 PM and 12 AM. So you probably have to check on the star charts. I wish people would use the apps that's available for mobile phone and just hold it up to the sky. The SpaceX ones are being slowly added to the applications too. So he's talking about the street lights outside of an apartment flashes off and on. So could that be like a separate thing that's going on there? I don't know if satellites would affect that. So let's have a look. We've got some videos here, so let's just play on. Let's have a quick look at this one again. So they're the lights that flash off and on, I guess. Why is it not moving on? Alright, that's the last one. What else we got here? Is it a balcony or through a window? Could be a balcony, isn't it? That's outside drain. Certainly a lot of lights out there. That could cause lens flare. So let's get the video and we can see what's going on. Download. Filmed the wrong way again too. It's alright to do that way if you want to get more of a perspective and then rotate it around, or create one that's landscape as well. But it's good that they've got photographs, which is quite interesting why these are landscape and yet the videos are not. They got it backwards. Still going. 20 minutes? I hope not. It's probably a big file, is it? Does it tell us here? Doesn't say. I wonder where it's saving it to too. Because I'm using this new browser, so I haven't checked it out fully. Have I got the download folder open? Let's have a look. See if it's going to the right place. Yes, I might have to. I told it to import the settings, so hopefully it's imported the information as well. Let's have a look. Looks like it might be going in the right place. Huh? There's the download link. So that's good. It did import the settings. So I was going to do Greer part 2, but I'm still researching it. All those tabs I got open here so far are all to do with that. But I want to try and do it a bit better. Do it better. Always do it better. Is it finished? Oh no, it's still coming down. I might have to wait for that one. We'll come back and have a look at the video. As long as we don't chew up too much CPU. CPU's gone down a wee bit now. But yeah, if you want to come in and talk, anything you want to talk about in the UFO field. What else we got here? Is that part of that last one that we looked at? With the helicopter, yeah. That one kind of looked like it was like a ceiling light reflection. Garbage, garbage, garbage. What's this one here? Next one. Yeah, it looks like it's going to take a long time. If that's the download line there. 14 minutes now. But we're losing screen footage here. All these banners. So what have we got in this one? There we go, we've got a little black object in the sky there. Or a few black objects. Looks like a formation of birds there, doesn't it? Or fighter jets. Let's save it. Save image. Have you heard about Tom Cruise? Yeah, it's not too exciting news though, is it, Sir Shelley? Tom Cruise wants to go into space to film a movie. I suppose it's a cheaper way in simulating space movies, right? But you know, the early flights they said would cost $300,000 per person. Only rich people would better go on the first flights into Space Hotel or whatever. I think that's still a long way away, isn't it? Go up to the edge of space and then back down again for $300,000. I suppose it's a thing of a lifetime. He's just cropping it himself there, I think. And then have they moved again? There's some more in the background here. They look like flocks of birds, right? So we'll just save that one too. And read out what he's saying. Yeah, I don't like Tom Cruise. He's a Scientologist, isn't he? Anyhow, that's a cult leader. And have you ever seen how they behave on TV when someone's filming them? And yet they film other people and always in their face to annoy other people that's sort of speaking out about them. So he's got a video as well. I wonder how big that one is. Oh look, something's finished. Finish. That's sort of scrolled off the other one. How'd you scroll it? JPEG. Show all. Oh, that's useless. I think it's still downloading the other file. Yeah. So how do we get that back to normal? So you can see where it's going. No, you can't. Download that one. Let's have a look at that one too. See how big it is. 3 minutes, not so big. Okay, let's have a look at those photographs. And see how the CPU will go. Blur those. So I guess he's taken some photographs as well as video at the same time, which is good. I don't think it's taken from the video itself, but we'll do a check in a minute. So yeah, you can see it looks like it's got flappy bits in it, like a bird would have. All this high spec cameras we have nowadays, and still it's rubbish. So if we add that through exit if information, I need to send to, and we can check to see if it's been tampered with. Got squirrel in the attic. Well, that's not an alien, but I suppose it's sort of. Yeah, they like to hide their nuts up there. So he may have taken a screen snapshot from the video by the looks of it then. Because there's no information. Blank. So we need to look at the video then. Or it's been tampered with. And it's still coming down. Ah. Has it added the other one back on, has it? So this is what slows us down, right? In the past I used to pre-download them all and do one by one, but here's one that's finished now. Why is it? There it is. So which one is it? The bird one. Let's have a watch. I gotta drag this player across. Well, it's not letting me drag it. CPU's maxing out.
I really wish I had a better camera.
Don't we always wish we had better cameras?
Todd, can you see this? You should get off the phone and videotape this, Todd. It's not. Todd, what is this?
Bird, plane, Superman. Lean against something,
I can't
missus.
see it on my camera on my phone when I look at it, but I can see it to look at the sky.
Yeah, what? Looks like,
It's like, you guys, that's the weirdest flippin' thing.
Could be planes there as well. What can we do with that one? That's a good question. What the hell are they doing?
I really wish I had a better camera.
There's a bird. You can see the flapping wings.
Todd, can you see this? You should get off the phone and videotape this,
Oh yeah,
Todd.
some moving across the sky there.
It's not. Todd, what is this?
Oh, it looks like planes, those ones.
I can't see it on my camera on my phone when I look at it, but I can see it to look at the sky.
Formation of jets.
It's like, you guys, that's the weirdest flippin' thing.
Not very good, is it? Unfortunately. Always the case. So, where's the best image that we can get from it? Does it have any birds there? So let me just zoom in and see if we can see the birds. So we can rule out the birds.
I really wish I had a better camera.
There we go. That's the bird.
Todd, can you see this? You should get off the phone and videotape this, Todd.
That looks like a bird gliding.
It's not. Todd, what is this?
But that also looked like planes in the background.
I can't see it on my camera on my phone when I look at it, but I can see it to look at the sky.
I wish you'd keep it still.
It's like, you guys, that's the weirdest flippin' thing.
Is it birds gliding? Or is it plane formation? I'll probably have to slow it down because she's terrible. So let's mute her. And slow it down. What speed are we on? 50%. Slow it down a bit more. 30%. So it's down there on the bottom. Okay, let's zoom in. And we might be able to see it a bit better. Okay, there's a bird flying. Seagull. What's these ones here? That looks like birds flying towards us. Another bird. Seagull, maybe. Where's the other stuff? Way in the distance. Here we go. So is that birds or planes or UFOs? That's the question. Do I see movement there of wings flapping? That looks like a big bird with wings there. Looks like it's flapping, is it? Come on. Just as it was getting good. And then she moves it. Yeah. Keep it on, keep it on. It's a bit hard when you got the super zoom going and she's moving all over the place. We ain't got much to thing. Is it deforming there, like the wings are moving occasionally? This is where they should have had plane finder up as well. It would have told it if it was like maybe a formation of planes. Does look like it could be geese though, couldn't it? No, don't zoom in. Keep it there, keep it there. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Still could be military formation of planes, couldn't it? They look like jets of some kind. I think I could see a tail fin there. So maybe if we can get a snapshot off the end. Nice camera. It's just the objects are too far away. This is where you need optical zoom on the phones. Yeah, so whereabouts was it here? Was that the end of it there? Gone behind a tree. Or was it another formation? So the thing is, if that was UFOs, I would like to see them stop in the sky and zoom off the other direction or vertically or something like that, because it's too much plane-like, bird-like, even though we can't really see them very well. But there's a point here where they look like they've got tail fins. And you can see how far away they are. And she uses the digital zoom, I think. See if I can get it. See, when she moves, they go to focus. So where's a good one? There we go. She's zooming in. But she's reducing the quality by doing that. Is it one of those helicopters that have what they call them, vertical lift as well as moving forward? Or could it be Chinook helicopters? Yeah, let's take a snapshot of that. I'll just keep that open in the background while we look. Okay, what do you want out there? And the Blue Angels are coming to my town. What's the Blue Angels? Jet fighters or they skydivers? Fly for our medical stuff. Flyers. Fly over. Alright, must be jets then. Okay, cool. Make sure you record it. You could show it on the channel here. You could probably upload it to Google Drive and share it on Discord. Yeah, where's our snapshot here? Kind of looks like a plane, that one. It looks like it's got a tail fin, right? Let's see if we can bring it into a proper editor and enhance it. Because this is what we do on the Out There channel. We just don't talk about it and say, oh yeah, it's planes, move on to the next video. We try and prove it. As long as this doesn't stuff up, because this has been going crazy since the update. It's been locking up. So we want to cut out some of those. It is running a wee bit slower. Copy this new image. Might not be able to do much with it though. We're only talking about pixels here, unfortunately. I wonder if anyone else got footage of it closer up. P1000 camera with 300 times zoom. Wouldn't that be good? So it looks pretty much like we've already seen. Wonder if we can really zoom in. It's definitely a real footage. It's a good one because we've got a lot of landscape in it, talking in it, and people being excited. That's the kind of videos we do like from people. We definitely know they're not faked. Because people like to fake stuff for some reason. Get a chuckle out of tinfoil hats. So yeah, is it a bird, is it a plane, or is it UFO? Well, it doesn't look like a UFO, does it? Just move that out of the way for the time being. If you want to come and talk, you still can. It looks like a tail fin going up here. Sort of plane shape. It's got a round nose on it. So is it like a carrier jet followed by jet fighters? You probably need to look up some records, maybe, and find out if there's any air shows. So the MUFON investigator would do all that probably. But yeah, again, maybe the phone apps would have had this on the display. And they might have their call sign turned off. Military jet scan. So to me, when we tone down stuff, you start to see the body, and it looks like something going up at the end here, like a plane. Side view, it looks like it could be a wing there. Like I said, we haven't got much to work with here. I Tic Tac, that's only because we're emphasizing changing the colors around it. See, we got all this glow. That's compression artifact happening. Way MP for video works. It's definitely something going on at the end here. It seems to taper off like a plane would. Seems to be constant with a plane shape, doesn't it? But yeah, there's not much we can really do for this one. We could have a look at the other ones, I guess. That seemed to be the biggest object. Unless it's not locking up yet. Yeah, so that's what I thought, you know. On that blurry mess. Just slowing down. Yeah, look, it seems to have a round shape coming and tapers off, goes up to something here. Could it be a C130 or whatever they're called? Okay, let's sharpen it. Why can't they hear the engines on the thing? We'll have to go back and amp it up, maybe. Jet engines, photo. I might better hear something faint in the background. That's again where the talking needs to shut up. So that all helps sometimes when you shut up. So the sharpening's bringing out with some of the details we saw in the other one, apart from now we're seeing the pixels. And you can see it's tapering off to a point that looks like a plane. Tail fin going up here. And it's tapering up at the end here. It looks like it's one of those carrier planes where they got something, you know, they got the high end where they got the bay that comes down. That's what it looks like to me. Might even be partially down in flight where skydivers jump out. Maybe it's some sort of air show where skydivers going to happen. Yeah, not much we can do with that one. Definitely looks like a plane. Tail fin there. Something coming down the back here. Could be ready to do skydivers. So yeah, that sort of popped out a wee bit there on the sharpener. And you like that? Yeah, so what's the other ones we got? Got this one looks big too. So it looks like 2 big planes here and 3, or maybe some other planes in the distance here. Further away. That one kind of looks like a helicopter, doesn't it? Down here. It's on an angle. 1, 2, 3. 3 fighter jets, 1 big plane, 1 big plane, 1 big plane, 1 big plane maybe, or a helicopter. Military. Let's zoom in more on those ones there. Still interested in doing this to see what it could have been, regardless if it's aliens or not. It's amazing what you can pull out from images. Blurry mess to something that's actually recognizable. Come on. I know its CPU's peaking up. Shelly, Bobby. Looks like discs. Yeah, I think we were wishing it was discs, but no. These blurry mess here. Because if you're going to pull much out of that, I don't know. It's not looking hopeful, is it? Makes it pop out a wee bit more, but still. You can see there's just no definition there. To me, it looked like a helicopter, you know, angled up on that one, but who knows, it could be a plane. This one here, it's got that triangle bit happening, like a fighter jet. Or a plane that's just overexposed. In this instance, because we amped it up. But it has sort of got that triangle bit in it. If you see what I mean. Seems to have some sort of shape in there. Again, that could be a plane with the tail going up. It's just the camera can't pick up enough information. Yeah, you see that it's got a sort of triangle bit happening there. So that one's useless. And this one at the back here looks more interesting. Again, it might be something pops out of it. It's amazing how time flies, isn't it? It's always coming up to 3 hours. What? So what's that, 8 o'clock in Texas there. Susan still with us. Yep. Fly with escorts. What fly with escorts? The big planes. If it's air show, they normally have a combination, don't they, as well? But yeah, I don't think the UFOs being escorted. Okay, it looks like we've got a tail fin happening here. Okay, it looks similar to that first one we looked at. So we could run it through the sharpener again. Yeah, remember the last settings we used on the last one. There we go. I think the worst one. You can see the pixels. And we got the white banding happening. The sharpening's not helping much, I don't think. Is that like a wing off the top of the plane heading this way? And that's the front of the plane and the back of the plane and tail fin, if you know what I mean. Looks like it's on a slight different angle to the other ones. Let's have a look in the main picture again. That one's look more of a side view. This one looks more like an angled view coming towards. That one's useless. Go. That one looks more of a sideway going that way. This one looks like it's still hidden slightly towards us. Yeah. So to me, I'm looking at a wing here. Wing going across here. Looks like going to the other side. And that looks like a tail fin going up here. And then we got the front of the plane. Looks like it's something on it. Could be an engine. Looks like there's something there. Something there. And then that looks like the body of the plane coming this way. Alright. And it looks like the cockpit area here. Well, or the front of the plane anyway. So it's on that slight angle. So let's have a look at these smaller ones. They look more like jets rather than the big planes. So what do you think on the site? Are you agreeing with me? Are you still seeing the UFOs? Like I said, they weren't doing anything that wasn't explainable by aerodynamics here. Not like what we were looking at on the interview from Tim, where he's saying that they were moving at acute angles. That would have been good to see. So is that fighter jet or is that a helicopter? Maybe it's 4 helicopters with 3 planes. Could that be a Chinook? Blurfo. But there was definitely birds there as well, flying in front, which were better because they were closer to the camera. I think we can't enhance that. Just another blob. Could be a helicopter. I don't think it's a plane, surely. being that much of a blob. Could be, I suppose. That's until. That's a bit of a shame. I think if it's zoomed in there, we would have been sure. I don't think you can enhance it. Waste of time. There's not enough pixels. There's not enough pixels to work on. See, what's that coming up there? Smoke? Smoke coming off the back, maybe. Or could that be like a Chinook helicopter? And we're seeing that funny tail fin they have. And they're sort of they lean forward a wee bit more, don't they? I don't know. Can't tell too much from this, unfortunately. Anyway, we might have a look at that other video. Well, this one looks more like a side profile here of a plane. So it looks like tail fin's going up about there somewhere. Front of the plane. Into a nose. And then it looks like it goes up. And we're not quite seeing how it's going there. But something's going on here. It could be like one of those things that lowers down at the end. Here. We're about to jump out. Skydivers. That could be one of those things that comes down. That could be part of the tail fin here. Going up. Maybe it's not quite right here. So yeah, I need some pictures to compare to really. C-130, I think they're called, or C-180s. C-130. What's up? Everybody's going away now. Lockheed C-130. Now you can see they've got a big tail and they're angled up a lot. So it kind of fits that image there. So you can see they've got a massive tail here, and the bay door here drops. There we go, look. So maybe it does go up. That's a good one there. What one that has the bay door going down in flight? I don't think we got it. The parachutes jump out the back. Now this overlay anyway does look very similar to that one. Either of those would do. Let's see if it matches. Those things finished downloading now. We'll have a look at it before we close up shop anyway. Since I downloaded it. And then I'll wrap up. I'll close down the OpenLines now anyway. No one wants to come and join us. It'll give us some CPU back. Testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's better. I've got some more CPU back. That was good though. We had a good discussion for the first 2 hours. Yeah, so let's bring that UFO into the editor. I mean, not the UFO. See, whatever it's called. So let's just get rid of some of this here that I've drawn over. Oop, 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 oop. Go back to the basic. And drop on the other image. And see if it's fitting. You can see how high that fin goes up there. Too much of an angle. Oh, I don't want to change the prospecs. Don't you like their eraser? You can see behind it now. Oh, they slipped. I should have saved some of it sooner. That was a good thing. I had it almost perfect. What's going on here? CPU, and we chopped off the tail. We're getting CPU slow down. Can someone invent a 128 core laptop for us? Yeah, let's move that around. Okay, it's on the small side. Yeah, it's starting to look good. Well, you can even get the wingtip. So that what we thought was a tail fin is looking very much like a wingtip. Probably need to get rid of more crap around the outside of it though. Let's adjust the layer. Make it see-through. Lining up, it's not too bad. I think my guess is right. Where's the corner gone? There it is. The size may not be just right. We got more garbage that needs to clean off there really. I wouldn't have the landing gear down, so we can take that off, I suppose. Is it locked up again? We'll try that. So there. We've got it slightly angled wrong still. Pretty close, I think. What do you reckon? Do you like that, guys? There we go. Are you with me now? That's what we're seeing. Let's see the wingtip coming up here, the tail fin. So part of the tail fin here is invisible. And it hasn't got the bay down after all. What we're seeing is tail fin here. I think it's pretty close. Maybe if we moved it up here, the tail fin would fit a wee bit better. Let's see the video. Which one you want to see? What, the original one? This one here. Can slow it down a wee bit more. Yep, definitely planes. It's not till the end of it that she's actually got it right, and then it's too late. So, Hoskin's razor. Most simple answer is normally the correct answer. So you can just see them now. Formation of planes. They could all be the same type of plane, of course. But it does look like 3 big ones and 3 little ones. Which could be helicopters or Chinooks. So what normally flies with C-130s? That's a good question. I'm going to stop that one. So one big plane, one big plane, one big plane. And maybe another big plane here and 3 small ones. We're going to spend too long on stuff like that, but it's well worth doing. I think when you overlay stuff like that and do what I do, it sort of brings it home. Of course, I could have blurred it as well to make it a wee bit more consistent with what we're seeing in the video. But so here's the other one. So let's have a look at that one. Went to the sound, well, it got muted. Why is it not? There it is. What was this one again?
The red lights are moving.
What is that?
It's not focusing on it.
It's there every night.
In the past 3 weeks.
Hmm?
For the past 3 weeks.
For quite a while.
So, weren't they using the heavens above that to
Only
rule
thing
out
in the sky
planes, satellites?
And just chilling.
You see the red lights just staying right now.
Literally not moving, but it gives back feedback. Like it's watching or recording.
Or it's a plane moving towards them.
The red is
Putting about a red
And now
light.
there's this thing up here.
I wish you'd film it the other way.
Now what? Is it looking at? Now I can't even fix my phone.
There we go. Focus then.
Now it disappeared. There it is. Okay. So there's this thing up here. And every time I try to look at it, there we go. See it? Got it.
Do you see the light on the very top?
There's two different things there. And this one keeps messing with
I don't think it's a satellite because it's not moving.
There it is. There it is. Now it keeps it's blinking.
I'm not sure what he's saying is blinking. I can't see it now. Oh, there we go. Are we looking at this? I'm assuming you're looking at that.
So what is that? It's been here for almost 3 weeks now.
I wish I'd used the apps.
Nothing else is like that. Well, except maybe that thing. Whatever that is.
It looks like a antenna.
It keeps doing that to my phone.
No, your phone's trying to autofocus, isn't it? You need a manual focus it. That looks like a tower of lights.
And then there's this thing.
Yeah, this is where you need flight radar to see if there are planes or airport near the area. They look like planes there, right? We've got some orange light there, collision avoidance light blinking there.
Okay. I zoomed out.
You can see them blinking, can't you? Planes from a distance, way distance though. This one I don't know. Could it be a planet? Venus? See, this is why you need to use the apps. But that's definitely a plane there. You can see the red blinking light, the collision avoidance light every so many seconds. Choose what you're going to focus on, mate. Plane. Planes. Control tower, or whatever that is, antenna. And this one up in the sky, Venus. Swamp gas, guys. What do you think on the side chat? I'll look in a minute. I think he's getting out of focus, so it looks like it's getting bigger. Why is he going there? Oh look, lens flare, lens flare. Told you about all these bright lights. Lens flare, look. Lens flare. That's a long video. That's good video though. Yeah, he's panning around a bit, but he needs like another camera on it, different angle. What's that, helicopter? Sounds like a helicopter in the background, no? An airport. So that could be a hovering helicopter, even. Again, you gotta use the applications, guys.
Still there.
Aim it at the object in the sky, and it will overlay any cool IDs of planes or helicopters. As long as they're not military, of course, they can turn it off. That sounds like a plane there in the background. And helicopter going, fading away. Helicopter going. Road traffic as well in the background. Street light. Houses and light, street lights. Yeah, back to the object there. So, I'm not sure we can do much with it, since he hasn't rotated around. Does it disappear, is the question. Let's get to the end. Does it just stay there all night? What the hell's he doing? No, it's still there. And it cuts off. That might be a good one to snap before he mucks around. Also gets in focus. So what do you reckon on the side there? There's multiple things there. Pull the trigger on that one. What's painful? What was painful? Did I miss something? Did something get deleted? Gecko Life. I've not heard that one before. Deleted message, deleted message. Guess I missed out on some interesting stuff happening. Okay, I'm not sure what was painful to watch though. This video. Missing out on what you're saying. Oh, ran the wrong way. What could it be? It looks almost like a helicopter or a floodlight on it. Doesn't it? It looks like it's going through atmospherics there. I don't think he's moving it. Oh yeah, is he? Oh yeah, he's blurred it. Is it out of focus? Slight movement there, I think. So we need to take another image. Let's just go back some. Has that one got movement? I think he's moving still.
There we go.
Maybe there. Let's have a look. That's where you got to keep it steady, guys. Yeah, gang. It's just a light in the sky, isn't it? Venus. Don't think we can do anything with it. That's the sort of thing you'd have to plug apps in just to check it out, and we haven't got time to do that right now. We're still here, yeah, Robert said. Yeah. It's a good video though. And this other one, did we actually hear any planes in the background? Oh.
Can someone?
That's that one. Where's the other one? Or did I delete it? Oh, there it is. Can we hear the plane propellers? Let's hear the wind, sea, and then...
I really wish I had a better camera.
I think those planes are too far away to hear them.
Todd, can you see this? You should get off the phone and videotape this, Todd. It's not. Todd, what is this?
There's no way you're going to hear planes in that noise. Unfortunate. Yeah, well. Okay, what do we get? This one here. MUFON cases, they take up a lot of time, don't they? If you want to analyze them as much as you can. And then we haven't got access to all the information. That's still not very big. It's only a few pixels. Wrong one. Yeah, looks like it's going through some atmospherics there. Okay, so that's why it's got that. Looks like a cloud fuzziness to it. Yes. Brightness. Looks like it was a quiet night there when he was filming it. Could be a LED balloon too. If it's not got a strong wind, it could just sit there in the sky for ages. So that didn't help much. Venus, lead balloon. But why would it be there every night? Could it be someone's got a tethered lead advertising balloon that they raise up every night? Seems very high up. Maybe someone's flying it. It looks almost like heart-shaped there, doesn't it? Doesn't look round, but again, we're at pixel level. It kind of looks like a heart shape happening. Could it be a heart-shaped LED balloon? Is there something coming down here? Like there's something attached to it? There's not enough pixels to go on. It does look like a heart shape. So it could be something that someone's mucking around with. Oh, here we go. We finally got that nasty hourglass come up. So yeah, unless you use the apps, makes it a lot easier. But we'll leave it there. Definitely looks like a heart shape something. You can see even on that picture there. It's far up though. It's interesting though. I don't think it's UFO or alien. Man-made junk, and the other ones are planes in the background. So yeah, we should wrap up, shouldn't I? So we did download a wee bit here. I should give you the links to it anyway. Which one was that one? That one. Planes and birds. C-130s. And 3 jets, possibly, or 3 helicopters. Hello, Joe. I know some people joined me last because I was doing a late. What was that? Something ridiculous. Early morning. It was like 3 a.m. People were just jumping on there from UK as I was finishing up. But I did a Tyler mask. If you haven't seen it, it's quite funny, and I put on these funny voices. I made this Tyler face mask here with his mugshot for the alien to wear. What's up, guys? Tyler here from security. I don't know if you can talk like him. You got to whisper. I've been busy because I've been blackmailed. Busy with lawyers. That's pretty good though. The first one's come out pretty good. Probably haven't got it lined up properly though, but it's not too bad. It looks kind of creepy. Creepy alien. But I do a summary of what's going on with Tyler. If you ain't watched it, go back to yesterday's, or a couple of days ago's live stream, and see how I make the face mask as well. You might learn something. Who knows? Well, thank you for coming. I was like, she's wrapping up already. Take care. Okay, better say goodbye and wrap up. Good night all. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Starting a wee bit earlier, 8:30 instead of 9:30, which works out to be 9:30 PM, was it? And 10:30 PM was today in UK, and whatever it was in USA. Good night all. Thanks for liking, sharing, and commenting. And no one donated, so we can't thank you for that. But maybe one day, help with licenses. Got more to cover, more expenses to cover. So I'll just pick up the end credits. So much for OpenLines. I thought someone may have jumped on there. But I'll say good night, and let's see if it works. Can't hear it, why not? Slow. There we go. Thanks Joe, Susan, Robert. Who else was this? Charles, Dell. I could keep on going though. 8272 UK. The troll from security, or third phase, whatever it was. Kiko, whatever his name is. Looks like I missed out some interesting stuff on the side chat there, was it? You weren't stirring them up there on the side chat, were you, Robert? Kiwi shutting down the studio. We're in the Matrix. Hopefully you enjoyed what we did tonight and be back for more. Haters will be haters. There we go. It's ending.